It is the Wednesday edition. The NFL trade deadline has passed, and the Green Bay Packers did not add Devontae Adams. But Tausch was right about what was going to happen in Vegas. Oh, at midnight on Halloween edition. The Rasul Douglas is a bill. And while we talked about the idea of trading veterans for future draft assets, this was not the one that I anticipated, and I'm curious what Tausch would say about the impact it has on the locker room edition. And the Goody Speaks at 11:30. I'm going to go. I need your help. What do I need to ask him? Edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and of course everything you want, everything you need, as Vertical Horizon once sang, on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Chase Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios, and from his undisclosed location. They never traded him. He is the Packers Hall of Famer. He's Mark Tauscher. Tausch, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I was on with KBN yesterday when that news broke, and my reaction was caught in real time of no, I didn't like what happened at all yesterday. So to answer your first question of the day on this Rasul Douglas, is it just that there wasn't that many players teams wanted, or was it just Rasul that was the only one? Because if you're going to trade Rasul, I had to think everybody was on the table. Is that a fair assessment of how you envisioned what yesterday?
That is what I'm wondering. And no one wanted Devondre Campbell. No one wanted Preston Smith.
Yeah, it surprises me because you saw what Montez Sweat and Chase Young, right? I always Chase Bryant Young. I get all those Youngs confused.
Chase Young, yep, Chase Young.
Those guys all got traded. Obviously, they're younger than Preston, but if you're in a win-now mode, which when you're typically buying outside of the Bears, that's typically what you're looking to do. So if you're going to get rid of Rasul Douglas, who I don't think it's even arguably, probably was your top 3 player on your defense this season. He's out there. He had a couple picks. He's
second highest graded. I know Pro Football Focus is not the end-all, be-all, but Rashawn Gary 1, Rasul Douglas 2.
Yeah, so it basically tells you, and we all knew that they were rebuilding. That even when Goody said that he wasn't, we all knew that this was a rebuild. Now, rebuild doesn't mean stink. But when you decide to start getting rid of the veteran players that are contributing in a big way, you are sending a message to the rest of your locker room that we're just winning isn't the most important thing at this time. That's just what it is. Now, the thing that's interesting about this group, and we've said this a couple of times now, is I don't know if these young guys fully – I think they do, but not to the same as a bunch of veterans. Mm-hmm. So if you do this with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae, all these guys that have been chasing championships for years, they're all going to say, well, front office, that same deal with like Josh Hader when he got traded. It sent ripples through your locker room. I don't think it's going to with this group. I think these guys are so young that this is looking at it like, oh man, Sewell's a good dude. We were able to talk with him and kind of bounce ideas off of him, but that's cool. Now our guy Corey Ballantyne, he's going to get more reps, and Ballantyne, all the Tynes are going to get more reps. And I think they're now looking at this completely as what Goody. Again, you should always listen to people when they tell you what they're doing. Don't try to interpret. Now, sometimes when they're telling you things, you need to look through it. But when they tell you the truth, believe them. And when you didn't bring Mercedes Lewis back and you didn't do that, and I understand, what would he be doing? when they tell you that they're looking to grow with each other and that they need to experience things to get better, that's code for we're rebuilding. And you don't have to, you can't say that publicly because that's not going to go over well. And you want your fans to continue to show up. But the thing is, Packer fans are going to show up anyways, regardless. They want, you kind of almost, it's not that you sold them a bill of goods, because I think you believe that you're going to win games. But yesterday, I think, was a pretty stark admission that, yeah, we're not going to win a ton of games this year, and we're going to try and collect more and more assets so that we can move forward and become the team that we're hoping, and this ain't going to be it this year. That's what I took from all of that yesterday.
All right, so we want to get people's reactions on the talk and text line, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. But I just want to – here's why I'm bothered by this. Because unlike outside linebacker, that if you trade Preston Smith – because, look, we did talk about the idea of them trading veteran players. Like – no one here is stunned that they moved a veteran player.
No.
To me, it's the one they chose or the one that was of interest to another team. What they got back, which is basically what, like a 50-spot move up in the draft next year from the 5th round to the 3rd round.
It's the equivalent. It's a 4th-round pick.
It's equivalent of a 4th-round pick. But
yep.
if you move Preston Smith, you have your 1st-round draft pick, Lucas Van Ness, who can get opportunities to play. If you move Devondre Campbell, you have Isaiah McDuffie, who you really like. Like, seriously, I'm not sure. They obviously gave Devondre Campbell his job back when he was healthy. But I'm not sure that they were overly concerned about the slow recovery from the ankle injury that Devondre Campbell is experiencing. Certainly he's a more veteran, more experienced. They like him, but they really like Isaiah McDuffie. So, again, you have a replacement ready who's already started games. When you trade Rasul Douglas, when we all know that Jair Alexander's back, you don't know from day to day, week to week, if he's going to play. Like, I think there's a chance he doesn't now play against the Rams, right? Based on what you saw on Sunday and the way he performed. So you don't know his status. Eric Stokes finally gets back, plays 4 special team snaps, and now he's on IR for at least 3 more games. And we know from hamstring experience that doesn't mean it's only 3 more games for him. So you traded the one guy who doesn't miss games, who has played well at the position, and plays a position where the other guys, I understand it's about the future, but the now is a concern. The now was a concern even while Rasul Douglas was on the team. You were playing Valentine and Ballantyne. Now, look, the answer that he gave when I asked about Mercedes Lewis was that these young tight ends have to play. So is the answer here that Carrington Valentine and Corey Ballantyne need to play? Because that is a tough sell, especially when a player like Rasul Douglas is one of the few who have exhibited leadership. I mean, who did Rasul Douglas leave the field with on Sunday? Jordan Love, talking to him about bucking him up from his disappointment and being that veteran leader. And now he's gone. Now, he was also outspoken after the game about his frustration with losing. And I know a couple of us in our text chain were wondering if that factored in to his departure. I wouldn't think so, but I suppose we have to ask that today. But my issue is – go ahead.
No, wouldn't you want your guys to be frustrated that they're losing?
You
don't want
so,
guys I mean, you saw Moneyball. You saw when Jason
Giambi's
brother was dancing in the locker room, and Billy Bean came in there and cracked skulls and traded people. So, the other part of this too that I thought was interesting when it comes to that is when you told us on Monday that Preston Smith and Sewell were the guys that obviously were in the ear of Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur was in the ear of and started talking about losing is no excuse with youth, and that they're his messengers in that locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And both were probably on the trade block. Sewell ends up getting traded, and he has been the one guy that I think you could look at and say that he has dumped it out there and played and performed. He's given up a couple tutters. They picked, Detroit picked on him, and they ran that little route on him, and so it's not like he's played perfect football by any stretch. But there's never a doubt in my mind he was laying it all out there. And as one of the only veterans that is performing at the level that I think they had anticipated when they signed him, it sets that tone in your locker room for, all right, we're going to continue to go young. And if you're a veteran player, you're looking at this, especially if you're in like an Elton Jenkins. It's tough to look at it and say that this group is committed to winning this season. Now, I understand that you have to be realistic with what you're doing, and you have to stick to your plan. Mm-hmm. And Goody's plan has been to do this, to get younger, wipe out cap, and build with your core guys, and then he could come back and say, well, I signed Rashawn Gary because with the core players we want to keep, we're going to do, and we're going to build off of it with those guys. But is he going to be able to sit there and tell you that Corey Ballantyne and everybody else needed more reps? They're getting reps. And now you're taking one of your most productive players and getting rid of him for a third round, in essence, a fourth round pick. It's pretty much telling you what your plan is. And as a player, I think, or as a GM, you're probably looking and saying, it's your job, young people, young guys, to improve and make us keep you. I think that's going to be your messaging of we need to see more from these guys, and that's why we thought the move was to get Sewell. And you know what? And if I'm Brian Gutekunst today, I'm also saying Sewell has been very outspoken about his frustration. He's in the back end of his career. We wanted to give him an opportunity to go win. You can do that, and you're probably not lying, but that will lessen, I think, maybe a little bit. But most of us that are looking at it know that that's probably fifth on the list of things why he was traded.
So to that point, do they do a really good job of spin? Because
who, the G&G?
Yeah, because here's another thing I know. We talked about the Davante Adams thing yesterday, and you talked about how stop saying that he wanted out and all the other things, right?
Yeah,
we talked about that.
Yep.
So we're trick-or-treating yesterday, and my buddy Paul, who lives down the block, is a huge Packers fan, born and bred in Green Bay. And he says to me, well, I like that it clears some cap space for next year. Rasul Douglas, if he is a good player for you, how many times have we talked about the cap is largely a fallacy at this point? Yes, he was going to count $11 million against the cap next year because they restructured his deal this year to create cap space. And they could have done it again. His base salary of $6 million for next year could have become a signing bonus again, and they could have moved money out. So they're realizing, I think, a cap savings of $5 million.
And
what
by
do you
the
like
way,
to
for
say?
a
That's
starting
popcorn
corner,
money?
For a starting corner in the NFL, that's child's play in this day and age.
Right.
Child's play.
But again, I think the Packers have done an effective job of creating within the fan base this, creates more cap space. Yeah! Hooray for cap space!
I think fans just want to be on the team. They want to be on, like, this is the way it's supposed to be. And that's what being a fan is. So I don't mind that. But no, that's, if you didn't think Sewell Douglas was any good, I'm fine making this trade. I don't think that's the case. I think this was, well, it's just not going the way we want. And I don't think it's going to get a ton better. Let's get a pick and let's move on with our lives. That's kind of where this is. And I think that's fine if that's your plan, but you have to be careful, just like I always said when it comes to tanking and getting picks, in trying to get that star player, which, by the way, I understand why teams do it. But the thing you have to get nervous about if you're a Packers fan, and I see this with the Bears, folks, you can't let this seep in and become normal. Yeah. And when you look at it and you have these young players and you lose a bunch, it becomes, you don't get the same sting as when you have it when these losses really hurt. That's not, when you're 4-12, the losses start getting there and you're kind of just, you become numb to it.
Yeah.
You have to be careful because some of these young star players, you see it with Justin Jefferson, Jalen Johnson, the corner for the Bears. All of a sudden, these young guys are looking at it and saying, well, I don't want to be a part of this. Look at what they did. They just dumped some of our veterans that are studs that were playing, and why are they going to do that to me? So why am I going to sign a long-term extension here when I don't think they're going to win here?
Right.
And Green Bay ain't always like this. Green Bay wasn't always the spot that people wanted to come and play with their quarterback. You're still fighting the battle because of the social scene and because of the weather. Now, all of a sudden, if you're in this position, now you can always overpay for people, but you better be careful. This is something, and it's not there. I'm not worried about it yet, but when you make moves like this, you better be careful that this doesn't become the norm and that your culture just slips to the point where losing is accepted and, well, we'll get them next time. That's how you build a losing culture. And Green Bay, to its credit, for years, obviously with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, you didn't ever have to worry about that. If Jordan Love isn't that guy, you're going to have to start worrying about it.
Well, the good news is if you end up with the Green Bay Packers and you buy a nice house that needs new windows, you at least get the benefit of being in Wisconsin and having Gina Della and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to replace your windows.
Yeah, well, we can't control a lot of stuff. Can't control Sewell Douglas getting traded. Can't control inflation, skyrocketing prices, shrinkflation. But there is something you can do about it at your house. Dramatically, you can help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing those stinky, creaky, drafty windows and doors. And Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can do it for you. Can have them installed in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest, no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com. This could be a fun month. This could be a fun month. I got a lot of room to play with on this read.
I just want to say it is November 1st, and that sounded like it was November 21st.
You nailed that. Yeah, that was your best debut ever.
The Pella squad gave me a lot of chances to succeed, and I'm going to succeed a lot this month. Was shrinkflation in there, or was that a Tausch ad-lib? Nothing. No, there's nothing with shrinkflation.
Wow.
God, not only did you nail it, but you dropped in a shrinkflation off of yesterday's conversation. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't like tooting my own horn, but that was pretty good.
I don't like tooting my own Pella read, but there you have it. All right. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. I would prefer your texts right now because Jesse has a really good question that I want to get to, and then we've got Brian Bulaga coming next. But your thoughts on this trade, and we'll read through some of them on the video feed. Again, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube on video if you want to join us there. But I do want to get to Jesse's really good question, which is what are all these different people thinking about this trade? We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Brewmate back tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details on Rentals 11/30/2023.
Grassland Dairy is built by tradition right here in Wisconsin and sustained by innovation. Since 1904, the Wheatrick family has worked with hundreds of dairy farmers to consistently produce the highest quality dairy products. Grassland's commitment to quality starts with the way their dairy farmers care for their cows and carries through every step of their innovative processing and delivery. They are proud to offer a wide range of reliable and nutritious dairy ingredients. Grassland Dairy is family owned in Wisconsin and has been crafting butter for 5 generations.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Madison Money Guy Christian Finfrock here. Struggling to understand retirement planning, life insurance policies, or managing your wealth? Listen to my show every Saturday at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN or call me right now at 208-1800 for a complimentary consultation.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hey, it's Alex Stroh. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview of the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
You know Mountain Dew is like no other soft drink on earth. That's because Mountain Dew is the boldest soft drink the world has ever seen. Today, Mountain Dew, the most iconic flavor in the history of soft drinks, has spawned a new generation of outrageously craveable flavors that share its glory, like Mountain Dew Major Melon, Mountain Dew Code Red, Mountain Dew Spark, Mountain Dew Voltage, and Mountain Dew Livewire. So here's to the neon royalty of Dew and the Dew flavors that have come after it, the boldest flavors on earth.
This is Wilde and Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Yeah. Ooh la la, but the pool is singing my line. Tonight nights with a view, yeah, keeping those blinds closed. She said I wanna find somebody by 9-4. Ooh na na, could it be her, baby? I like you. But watching the move, I was lost in the rhythm. And she pulled me close by the look in her eyes.
Rasul Douglas is a Bill. But Preston Smith, Keyshawn Nixon, that's another example. You could have traded a return guy and a third corner and still gotten work for your young corners. But maybe there wasn't interest. Again, I'm not advocating for trading Keyshawn Nixon. The weather is turning. It snowed on Halloween. Maybe he gets some opportunities to be a game changer in the return game now, because he has not had many of those opportunities to this point. But, again, Rasul Douglas, essentially for a fourth-round pick. The Packers send a fifth-round pick, which figures to be fairly high in the fifth round, to the Buffalo Bills for a third-round pick that could very well be to the bottom of the third round before the compensatory selections are factored in. Let's, Jesse, what's this little game you've got scheduled for us here?
It's not so much of a game. It's just perspective of the discussion. We're done with spooky. We're done with spooky or fluky.
Happy or crappy?
Thankful or unthankful, I guess.
What is today, like the Day of the Dead or something? Isn't today like
All
a
Hallows
Day?
Eve, yeah, or something like
No, but it's like Day of the
Wasn't
Dead.
that yesterday?
Anyway.
Oh, that was yesterday?
The question that I came up with is, how do you think the following people
kind of poo-pooed me a little bit there?
No. I was poo-pooing Jesse. You are correct. The Day of the Dead, which is Dia de Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos, yes.
Jesse,
is
don't
today.
act like you know what
I took 4.5 years of Spanish. I know what the day is.
He said Hallows Eve. That's what Halloween is.
It's all, I know for us Catholics, All Saints Day.
All Saints Day is what I was thinking the all, and I got crossed up in my alls.
I thought there was something else. And Jesse, what is it again since you're Mr. Espanol? How do you say that?
Dia de los Muertos.
Muy bien.
Oh, yeah, grazie.
Actually, it doesn't say that. It just says Dia de Muertos, but be that as it may. All right. What's your All Saints Day game that you've got?
I want to know how a few different people are feeling, or at least how you think they're feeling one day removed from this
I love telling
trade.
people how they feel.
Yeah, I know that's been the theme of the week.
It's one of my favorite things.
So what's Goody thinking when he's waking up today? Like, he made this deal yesterday. He sends Rasul out of town. He's got another draft pick, a third rounder. We know how great those have been. How's Goody feeling waking up today?
I think he feels bittersweet because in reality, this is one of Goody's best pickups.
No doubt.
It's been Sewell. So I'm sure he's appreciative of Sewell's time in Green Bay. I firmly believe that. But I also think the GMs always want to find younger, cheaper pieces until they believe it's a championship caliber team. And it was pretty clear that when you make that move to get rid of one of your best pickups and then you signed him, to trade him, I'm sure is bittersweet. That's how I think Goody's feeling today.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to clarify something. Rasul Douglas is 28. This ain't moving on from a veteran player approaching the end of his career. This is a guy that is in his elevator years. And I would argue that, yes, while the Detroit Lions definitely exploited him, he has played well this season. He's not
for sure.
He is definitely not some guy who's on the downswing. And I saw some people who don't think this was a good trade saying this guy was the heart and soul of that team. That may be a little strong, and when you're the heart and soul of a 2-5 team, that doesn't mean quite as much. But the bottom line is, this is not some guy that was washed. This is not Mercedes Lewis that you didn't want on your team anymore. So I think Goody's happy. I don't think he's bittersweet at all. He's excited to, he believes he's got a very good track record in the third round, and he's going to go out there and he's going to get it, or he's going to package this and the Jets' second-round pick and get another first-round pick in the draft or something like that. I'm sure he has some plans, but again, this is not, given where they are in the present, given what Rasul Douglas has done for this team in the past and currently, and given the fact that he is a player who could have still helped you in future years, I don't understand quite why this would be cause for celebration.
We'll have to go through some of these guys later because I think we're running out a little bit of time here. But Matt LaFleur, how's he feeling?
That was the one I wanted you to get to,
when he
Jesse.
sees the news and waking up today. What's he thinking?
He's out blanking all over the place. What the blank? What the blank do you expect me to do here?
Blankety blank.
I think he's pretty irritated. I can't imagine he's excited. I keep envisioning, Jason was there, but he painted a pretty good picture of people going over to Sewell and Preston Smith and trying to pull this thing together when everybody's jumping off the ship and trying to message to your team that we need to get it together. We can't use youth as an excuse. And I would bet Matt LaFleur, if indeed, and the way it was described and the way that it was echoed with the one kid that you could say is the only kid that can use, what's his name, the Nigerian cat?
Kenneth Odumegwu.
And he's the only one, and the fact that Preston said it and Rasul said it, you know that it's messaged. That's a great little indicator.
Despite his denial. He denied that he...
I'm guessing Matt LaFleur is dejected by this news. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think what the blank is exactly what he was saying yesterday. Because I'm also thinking that he did not get a very timely heads up on it either. That would be my guess. Again, silos. But maybe he was in the loop the whole time, and Goody said, hey, I'm trying to trade these 4 guys. We'll see how many of them I can move. It's going to be rough for you. But hopefully you don't lose all the rest of your games because I don't want Mark Murphy to fire you just yet. I would say this. I hope that Matt LaFleur is insuring carefully because right now it's probably a little bit difficult to dream fearlessly with AmFam.
Well, let's talk about the Badgers then. And American Family Insurance, I want to give you and a friend a VIP experience at a Badger football or basketball game during the 2023 season. You got to get moving. Football season is winding down. You and a friend receive pregame, sideline, or courtside passes to tour the facility and tons of great merch to support your Badgers. Enter today at amfam.com/Badgers. No purchase is necessary. Dream fearlessly, insure carefully.
Brian Bulaga, we would never trade him. He joins us next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
College football Saturday on ESPN Radio. The undefeated and 5th-ranked Washington Huskies face a major road test at the Coliseum in Los Angeles when they face Caleb Williams and 24th-ranked USC. Coverage begins Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Zimbrick Chevrolet.
When was the last time you had your oil changed or your tires rotated? Do you need new tires, a battery, perhaps some windshield wipers? Zimbrick Chevrolet Service Center is equipped to help you with routine maintenance, major repairs, and everything in between. Get your free battery inspection coupon and schedule an appointment today at ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Don't overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie.
Main Street, Sun Prairie, Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Hey everyone, Molly Brown here from ESPN Madison. For the best Southwestern food and margaritas in the Madison area, it's always Pasquale's Cantina for me. Whether I'm enjoying my favorite taco salad, their awesome chips and guac, or one of their famous burritos, Pasquale's is the best for authentic Southwestern fare. Plus, they have one of the largest tequila selections around. Visit one of their locations in Verona or Middleton today, or check out their menu and order online at Pasquale'sCantina.com.
Bringing the flavors of the Southwest to the Midwest. Pasquale's Cantina.
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, home of the Big Win and Madison Casino Guru, is transforming guests into winners. Making an ordinary day into a big win day is easy with a 95% average payout. And with over 140 daily jackpots, the number of people winning has never been bigger. So what are you waiting for? Escape to Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison for your next big win.
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare, with on-site repair. so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Have you met your deductible? Are you stuck waiting in line to see an orthopedic physician? The team at Orthopedic and Spine Centers of Wisconsin can see you tomorrow. Their board-certified and fellowship-trained orthopedic and spine physicians have been treating patients in the Madison area for over 3 decades. They specialize in a wide range of areas, including sports medicine, joint replacement, spine, hand surgery, and more. Convenient and accessible, their team is dedicated to getting you back to being active and doing what you love. Visit orthospinecenters.com. That's orthospinecenters.com.
Brian here from Canopy Wealth Management. At Canopy, we commit to full transparency in everything we do. Because we're a fiduciary, we strive for the highest industry standards and on our ethical duty to put your best interests first. Our balanced approach helps guide you through a complex and ever-changing landscape, creating a personalized wealth management experience. Care, competence, and clarity isn't just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
I've got some famous friends you probably never heard of, but back in Rutherford County, our crowd is second to none. You might not know them here in this big city we're in, but when I go back home, I've got some famous friends. Yeah, I do.
You know what that music means? It's too bad that I have bad news for him. Former first-round pick Brian Bulaga out of Iowa. We've traded him. We're looking to get younger. We want to have some draft picks next year, so we're sending him to ESPN 690 in Jacksonville. Closer to home. Give him a chance to win in the ratings. We're really going to miss him, though. Eager to see how our locker room responds. No, Brian, we would never trade you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good. I like that. That was creative. I like that. That was good.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it was well executed. It was a last minute idea that I had, and let me ask you this though. You're not in the locker room now. You're a veteran player. There aren't many of those in this locker room. But the Rasul Douglas trade, put yourself in the locker room as a player of your current age, because you certainly could still be playing if you chose to. Still looking for some help at tight end with all that weight you've lost. But also try to put yourself maybe in a spot like a Zach Tom, who's only a second-year guy, or an Elton Jenkins, who's a fifth-year guy. How does a trade like this of a player who has been playing well and at a position where they aren't exactly deep at the moment, how does this play in the locker room in your mind?
Yeah, I think it sends a certain message. Obviously, he was a veteran leader, and like you said, he was playing well. I mean, the part of the defense that has been performing not too bad as of late. Obviously, Minnesota had a decent game in the air, but Douglas has been playing well, and it sends a message to the locker room. And unfortunately, I don't think it's a great one. It's kind of one that says, hey, we're kind of looking into the future right now. We're offloading some veteran guys. We're trying to get some picks, and it kind of sends a message that we're willing to move on from guys. And honestly, it could be sending that message into the offseason too. I mean, guys will be put on notice going into this offseason as well. When you make a move like this in the middle of the year for a veteran guy, everyone gets put on notice that the offseason there's going to be some things happening. So I think guys could look at it a couple different ways. I'm hoping guys don't look at it as, hey, man, we're just going to ride this thing out and whatever happens, happens. I hope guys keep a winning mindset and to challenge themselves and to try to get better. But it's hard not to look at it as say an Elton Jenkins or a guy that, maybe not, an 8 or 9 year vet, but a guys that are in their year 5 or year 6 that, hey, this isn't going to be a winning year, or we're not really looking to try to compete and get this whole show straightened out. It's kind of just, we're just going to make our way through the season. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, Blue, I think one of the interesting parts of this is that a lot of fans are excited about the fact that there's going to be all these draft picks and that you're really just now, okay, we're rebuilding and we're going to reset. But from a locker room standpoint, you just said it with, well, I hope that guys don't take this as we'll accept losing and everything else. We've seen this at other places. We haven't seen this in Green Bay. We've had blip years where you lost a bunch of games. There's been some injuries. But there hasn't been a year where you've seen this acknowledgement. And do you worry that that can seep in? Because this whole idea of tanking and everything else I've always said is bunk from a player's standpoint and coaches. But from a front office, when you do that and you send that message to the team that this ain't your year, all of a sudden guys start thinking, well, if this ain't our year and I'm in year 6 and I'm not sure they're going to keep my contract next year, maybe it ain't going to be my year. And that can get infectious in a locker room too.
Absolutely. Those doubts can creep into guys' minds real quick. And I hope it doesn't, but guys look at this in a certain way. When you offload, I mean, and you were right. I've never been part of the Green Bay team that are sellers at the deadline. Never seen it. I don't think this is like probably one of the first times it's happened in a long time that a good veteran player has been offloaded at the deadline. I think you don't want it to happen, but guys may look at it as like, hey, my contract's coming up in a few years. I may be trade bait around the draft or in the off season. Do I just kind of protect my own self-interest at this point and just make sure I go and do my job and I play well and I'm not really worried about a result at the end of the day as long as I did what I needed to do out there. And that's a scary, set of circumstances to get into when you're looking at a team that's 2-5, that guys just kind of start looking out for themselves and not playing as a team. And I'm hoping that's not the message that's kind of going around the locker room, because obviously Douglas was a respected veteran in the locker room. Guys liked him. They looked up to him. So I'm hoping that the mindset isn't, hey, I'm just going to worry about me from here on out and, whatever happens this offseason is going to happen. I hope guys stick together, but it's a hard message, right? Like it's a tough message and it one that puts guys on notice.
Blue, how do you think Matt LaFleur is feeling today?
I would imagine maybe a little confused. He's already got one of the youngest rosters in the NFL.
I think he's pissed.
Yeah.
I think he's really irritated.
Yeah. I mean, you got a super young roster, and now you ship out one of the more veteran players on the team again. So now you just get younger. It's not like we got a ton of depth at quarterback right now. So now you're going to go put someone out there that probably isn't as good, doesn't have as much experience, not as much pull in the locker room, not as much leadership on the field. And now you got to go roll with that. Obviously, Stokes is out for a while still with the hamstring. So I don't know what the secondary is going to look like, because now they're going to be moving guys around and putting guys in places that they normally don't play, and that's just not good. I mean, I can't imagine that he is –
It's just not good.
Yeah, it's just not good. I mean,
you're
I
right.
don't know. At this point, Matt LaFleur has to be looking at it as fans may be excited that, hey, we get more picks, right? We get more, cracks at the table. But we're sitting here talking about how the youth of this team is part of the problem, and all we're going to do is get younger by drafting more guys, flooding the roster with more youth, and then expecting them to perform and play well and grow up really fast. And it's just a hard expectation to want when you want to, you want a winning team, the fans want a winning team, but then they want to get younger and they're excited about the draft picks. You can't have both. It doesn't work that way. So it's a very interesting dynamic that we have going on right now, and it's either people need to be all in on a complete rebuild, or they need to be like, hey, it's cool to acquire picks, but what are we going to do in free agency to acquire veterans and get guys on this team that understand how to win and understand how to lead a locker room? Because at the end of the day, like, you can have all these picks and you can get first-round picks and second-round picks and third-round picks. Those are all good things. Those are building blocks for the future. But if you don't have, true, leaders of men in the locker room to guide this thing the right way, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for a few years, man. And that's what I'm worried about. Truly.
Yeah, a couple things to clarify before we shift gears into tackle talk. As Brian pointed out during his playing career, the Packers were not sellers at the trade deadline. The last time they made a trade deadline trade at all, now they did move someone off their roster. It was Clinton Dix, who they traded for a fourth-round pick. I would argue that was not playing very well, and that was viewed completely differently than what occurred today or yesterday.
No doubt.
Secondly,
no doubt about that.
Secondly, the Packers did not add a draft pick yesterday. They moved up in the draft, but they sent a fifth-round pick to Buffalo along with Rasul Douglas and got a third-round pick back. I do think it's instructional to point out that among the players that the Green Bay Packers have drafted in the fifth round are Micah Hyde, Corey Linsley, Dontavion Wicks, who I'm a big fan of, and I know he had a huge drop on Sunday, but could turn out to be a pretty good player. A fifth-round pick ain't nothing. So it's not like they approved an extra pick. They moved up. They still have the same number of picks as they had before they traded Rasul Douglas. We'll get the tackle talk because we are definitely not trading Brian Bulaga at the trade deadline. Tackle talk with Tausch and Brian next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Mark Tauscher here, reminding you there is no better product and no better taste than delicious Grassland Butter. But whether you're tailgating Saturday night with a full meal, including delicious dinner rolls or sandwiches, or you're up and at 'em early on Sunday for a noon game, be sure that Grassland Butter is part of your game day spread. Grassland has been producing the highest quality butter from farm to table since 1904. That's more than 5 generations. And the key to that success after all these years is the hard work of dairy farmers all across Wisconsin who produce the high quality ingredients that give Grassland its rich flavor. Learn more about Grassland's story and check out some creative new recipes to try out before the holidays at grasslandbutter.com. Remember, there is no better product and no better taste than Grassland Dairy, crafting butter for 5 generations.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. The UW men's basketball team unofficially tips off their season tonight in an exhibition game at the Kohl Center against UW Stevens Point. Head coach Greg Gard and his expectations.
It's good for the state. I think it puts basketball in a spotlight at various levels for that night, and we're looking forward just to see how we respond and how we play together.
Tip-off between the Pointers and the Badgers set for 7 p.m. tonight at the Kohl Center. The Badgers officially get their season underway Monday as they host Arkansas State.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Visit PellaWI.com.
Hi, I'm Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock with Retirement Income Strategies. And what sets us apart is we're an independent, family-run office. We help clients like you understand the financial world and build a portfolio that's in your best interest. To learn more, go to MadisonMoneyGuy.com.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Dash the Dane. That's right, Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company has expanded their delivery offerings with DoorDash. New customers get $5 off your first order of $25 or more. And don't forget, Dash Pass subscribers always receive free delivery. Order delivery today at GreatDanePub.com or on the DoorDash app and get food delivered from the Great Dane closest to you. Downtown, Hilldale, Fitchburg, or East Madison. Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. I joined the Princeton Club because I was looking for a place I could invest in my health, and the environment and the community I have felt has made it so easy for me to incorporate it into my everyday life. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey because they have something to offer everyone. It also goes beyond fitness. From the moment you walk in the club to the moment you walk out, there is a togetherness felt throughout the members and staff that keeps you going for your better tomorrow. Don't wait any longer and get started on your fitness journey today at PrincetonClub.net. That's PrincetonClub.net.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
I've got some famous friends you probably never heard of, but back in Rutherford County, our crowd is second to none. You might not know them here in this big city we're in, but when I go back home, I've got some famous.
Continuing with our famous friend Brian Balaga. Tausch, I turn it over to the two of you to nerd out on your offensive line talk.
All right, Blue. We obviously saw a little bit of a switcheroo out at left tackle. You broke down the film. Give me your highlights and lowlights of what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the move at left tackle, I think, is a necessity at this point. I thought Yash did a nice job when he went in there. I think he brings you a little more experience, a little more calmness on the line. I think he did some good things, and I think he's a guy that you can rely on out there. I really do. I looked at, obviously, Walker was in there early, and it kind of was going the way it has been going the last 3 games, 4 games, and Yash went in there, and I thought he did a good job. I thought Elton was better, which is a good sign. It's positive. It's a positive sign that I thought Elton played better this week. He was pretty good in the run game, even though we didn't do much in the run game. We can get into that because that was just hard stuff to watch. But Elton was better. I thought Zach Tom was good. Obviously, he got the late, gave up the sack fumble, and we got back on it. But that was late in the game, and Daniil Hunter's a good player. That's all I can say about that. I thought watching it, and again, I'm just me looking at it, I thought Myers played better. I thought he played better. Besides, obviously, the first 3rd and 1. Where I don't know what happened on that play.
Blue, I was going to ask you, do you know, from a conceptual standpoint, did he think that he had help, or was it just a whiff?
Well, it looked like a blown play all across the board. And why I say that is because Walker went the wrong way, ran into Elton. Runyon went the wrong way, ran into Zach Tom. Myers looked like he was getting help, but then didn't even touch the shade and just whiffed. And then the middle linebacker, who I thought, Runyon and Myers would be comboing to, wasn't touched either. So I don't really know what was going on. And then on the backside of the play, the 2 wide receivers, I think it was Watson, and I forgot who the other one was. They were supposed to be comboing the DN up to the safety, but they were too far apart, and it was destroyed. I mean, no one really touched anyone. And 97, the nose tackle was in the backfield almost by the time Dylan had the ball, and then the linebacker came through free, and we had two guys going the wrong way. You watch the play from behind, and Dylan, what he was looking at when he received the ball was a nose tackle in his face, the wide receiver being collapsed 6 yards in the backfield by the defensive end, and the middle linebacker right behind the nose tackle.
Can't believe it. Get us a yard.
Yeah, I can't believe it. You know, we all say A.J. Dillon doesn't know what he's doing, but when you look at the play, it's like, well, I don't know where the guy's supposed to go. Like it was an absolute just disaster right from the snap. And that's and it was the front. It wasn't a confusing front. It wasn't like they were showing something crazy. I mean, it was pretty basic play. It looked like almost they were going for almost duo type blocking, where it's just a bunch of double teams, but the way that the Vikings lined up, it was going to be man on man all the way across, besides the right guard and the center, who's supposed to be comboing up to the middle linebacker, and they all stepped the wrong way. Myers overreached the shade and fell on his face, and it was just a blown play. And I watched the run game throughout. I mean, the stats tell it. I mean, Aaron Jones 7 of 29, Dylan 6 for 11. Like, the run game was just disastrous again. Like it was just, I mean, our leading rusher was Jordan Love with 4 rushes for 34 yards on scrambles. Like, it's just, I tell Homer every game, like I go over this, like, because I obviously watch the tape and I look at the two stats that jump off the page for me, and it's time of possession and rush yards, right? And Green Bay has lost those two stats in almost every game. And it shows, right? I mean, the kickers, we won the time of possession against Denver, but lost the game. So, like, that was the one kicker. But I look at those two stats, how long we have the ball and our rushes compared to the other team. And when you lose those two stats, especially against an offense that we have that isn't explosive, that can't get to that, seems like this hard 3 touchdowns a game mark, it's not a good stat to have, right?
That's
and
crazy.
You
3
look at it from an offensive. Yeah, I know.
You're asking for the moon here, man.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, how about a first down? Yeah, I know. So I just look at it, and the deficiency up front in the run game. I mean, if you continue to see that type of production, you're gonna continue to see the same results on offense. Right? You can't run the ball. You can't protect the passer. You can't stay on the field. You're gonna continue to see the same results. So,
well, other than that, how was the play? How was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Other than all that stuff that you just mentioned, the play pretty good with your husband Abe.
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, the game was great to watch. Besides that, the game was fantastic to watch. But
let's say this. You're taking over. Let's say that Luke Butkus is like, man, I need some help, Blue. What would you go in and do? Because we've had these discussions now. We've had this discussion now 5 or 6 weeks. And it hasn't gotten any better, and you make an argument it's gotten worse. So what's the solution? I know they're grinding, trying to figure it out, but the run game it's not gotten any better. Aaron Jones being back hasn't been that magic pill that we hope for. So what do you do if you're Coach Brian Bulaga?
Well,
quit.
Obviously, the change. I think the change that. I mean, I'd be probably in the same place that Butkus is right now, up in my office, just trying to figure out, like, what can we do here. Obviously, the change at left tackle, I think, will help a little bit, right? Like, it'll help a little bit. If Elton continues to play better, that will help tremendously. It just, you look at what goes on at center and right guard, and because of where we're at and who we have depth-wise, is it even a good decision to make a change? Now, obviously, people were like, well, why don't you try Zach Tom out at center? Well, then who are you putting in at right tackle? Like
Right.
it's you try to fix a problem, but then you open up another problem. So I think you just gotta continue with the guys you have. Obviously, moving Yash to left tackle and leaving him there, but you just gotta. I mean, I don't know what it takes in practice to get Runyon and to get Myers to perform at a higher level. I don't know what the coaches can do at this point, right? Like that they're putting everything they can into it to get these guys to understand what they need to do, to play at a certain level, to understand their assignments, to not step the wrong way on 3rd and 1. Like these are things that they go over in practice. They obviously get it right in practice, then they go in the game and something happens, right? Like the lights turn off and guys are blanking and they're just panicking and they're just freezing up. Then the ball snapped and then it's like, oh boy, what am I doing? And that shows. It really shows. So at this point, I think I would do what I would do is I'm not sure that the personnel lineman we have right now is really built for this zone scheme. Obviously Elton is, obviously Zach Tom is. I would say Yash is because he's been in it for so long, but I just don't think the meat of the interior, right? Myers and Runyon are really built for this type of zone scheme. So I think you got to have more downhill runs, even with Aaron Jones, more duos. And what duo is, as Tausch knows, it's double teams all across the board. You're really leaving one guy out, really the front side player, and is one-on-one, normally the tackle.
If you're going to do that, if you're going to do that, you need a blocking tight end. I mean, you need somebody that you feel good about out on that edge, or an Alan Lazard who's going to come in, and you don't have that personnel to do that.
I know, but like I'm just trying to. I'm trying to.
I get it. I get it.
I'm trying to fix this, man. Work with me here.
I'm just trying to like give a solution, but like, and you hope maybe the tight end can just get in the way. You know what I mean? Like just get in the way long enough, because obviously for so long, they had Mercedes Lewis that was a phenomenal blocker. So, like, he could hold the point better than most offensive linemen. So, I mean, that position was always taken care of. He's out the door, and now we have young tight ends that really don't look like they have a ton of interest in blocking. So, it's just one of those things where we just kind of have to find what this group does good and continue to do it. But from based on tape, there's just not a ton. So I believe me, I'm at a loss too. Like I wish I had the magic potion. I don't. Like I don't.
To put it in perspective,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Loss.
It's just, and it's not funny at all, but it's just so funny listening to it because it's true, and you're kind of looking like, what can we hang our hat on? What are we optimistic about? And it is really hard to see anything on offense. And Blue just illustrated that by trying his hardest to do it, and it's just not there. It's just not.
Yeah. And like it's hard for me to admit it too. Like it's hard, like because I want him to be good and I want him to succeed, and like it's hard. It's hard for me to say it because, man, like I want to be able to say, hey, they're good at this. We should just keep riding this and keep just forcing the issue. But you watch the film, and if you're watching it objectively and you're being honest with what you're watching, there's just nothing. And it's the hardest thing to say as a guy that did it, that played it, you played it, and you watch it, and you're like, there's just nothing out there that you could really say, let's continue to do that. And it's difficult. And you know, like, and this is not off topic, but it's on topic. Like, you look at the teams that were dominant early on, right? The 49ers, offense was clicking. Trent Williams goes down, they look lost. Like, they don't look like the same team without Trent Williams. Like, for the longest time when the Cowboys would lose Tyron Smith at left tackle, they looked lost. Yeah, they look lost, like they didn't know what to do. I keep saying it, if the group up front doesn't perform, offenses don't work. Like they just do not work. And that's what we're seeing right now is a group up front that isn't getting it done and the offense isn't working. Like we could say Jordan Love's inaccuracy and the receivers dropping passes or they don't know what, that's all part of an offense. But if the group up front can't do their two jobs, run block and pass block, and do it at a high level, none of it's going to work. And that's just the truth of it. You see it league-wide as well. The teams that offensive lines aren't very good, they don't really get anything done on offense. And the offenses that do have good lines, they get things done, and they score points, and they're able to do it. And we're just in a struggle right now where up front we can't get a lot done, and we're going to continue to see the same things on offense. Like, as simple as getting a first down. Like, as bad as that is, like, didn't get a first down until almost the end of the first half. Like, it's difficult. Everything's difficult right now.
So just to be clear, the get in the way of a guy block is better than the lookout block, where you don't block anyone and you yell "look out" to the quarterback before he gets. That's where we're at. We're looking for the get in the way of a guy block from the tight ends at this point. That's the goal. Okay.
Yeah, that's the goal, because at least the running back can see that a body's on a body, right? Like, okay, like I can maybe set this, even though he's probably losing the block, I can maybe set up the DN a certain way and cut the other way and make this block work for myself. I mean,
and
if
in fairness,
just whipping,
in fairness, they're going to get better. But this is again, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft and Ben Sims are going to get better at this, but they're not there yet. And we tried to warn people. We know tight end is difficult, especially when you're young, and some of these guys, that's what they're up against. Brian, I will talk to you again on Thursday with Homer. We look forward to every Tuesday with you, buddy. Thanks for making time for us.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good rest of the show.
That is Brian Bulaga.
Wasn't exactly a ton of optimism there.
How are your Cheerios?
It really makes me think we should have traded Preston. And you know what? Forget about trading Rasul. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, trade Rasul, trade out, just trade everybody.
Get lots of third-round picks for them all. All right, we will kick off the 10 o'clock hour way late with a few of your text messages about the Rasul Douglas trade next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Zimbrick Chevrolet.
When was the last time you had your oil changed or your tires rotated? Do you need new tires, a battery, perhaps some windshield wipers? Zimbrick Chevrolet Service Center is equipped to help you with routine maintenance, major repairs, and everything in between. Get your free battery inspection coupon and schedule an appointment today at ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Don't overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie.
Main Street, Sun Prairie, Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Hey, this is Craig Karmas, and join Kyle Wallace and me every Sunday morning for Sunday Karma on a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out at 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. An NFL trade deadline deal for the Green Bay Packers. But no, they're not buyers, they're sellers. Rasul Douglas traded to the Buffalo Bills along with a 5th-round draft pick in exchange for a 3rd-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Some skepticism from ESPN's Adam Schefter, who joined ESPN Milwaukee's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. Check out the full interview, available on Wisconsin On Demand and wherever you get your podcasts. Reactions continue on Wilde and Tausch coming up next on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand. All of this, of course, as the Green Bay Packers get set to host the Los Angeles Rams Sunday at Lambeau Field. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst meeting with the media at 11:30 this morning as the Packers get back to practice getting set for Sunday's game. College football, the Wisconsin Badgers continue preparations for Saturday's game on the road against the Indiana Hoosiers. With a win, the Badgers would become bowl eligible.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
I've been grinding so long, been trying it for years. And I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. Thanks again to Brian Bulaga for all of his insights and his cheery positivity about the offensive line play. In fairness, Tausch, I think Elton getting back to being Elton would do a lot for them. I think
For sure.
the three of us have been much higher on Yosh Nijman than the Packers coaching staff clearly has been, but that doesn't mean that they're right and we're wrong. It could very well be that the three of us turn out to be right, and he helps them at that position. You'd still rather have David Bakhtiari, but you are what you are at this point.
Yeah. I feel like the word stability is needed at that group, and Rasheed Walker could very well become a really good player, but there is a learning curve playing offensive line, and I think Yosh, with the experience that he's had, and by the way, he's been a very serviceable player for every time he's been in, and I thought he played a lot better, obviously, on Sunday, and gave the offense at least a fighting chance to potentially be a little bit better. But I think the interior three and running the football, that's what makes it move. You being able to move guys up front and do that stuff, that's what will help you allow to do all of the other things. And if you're looking at another mistake that I believe Goody made, and we were pretty adamant about it, Blue kind of just gave you a really good look at why Mercedes Lewis would have been such a big piece to help, because you built this team on running the football and play action pass. And the best friend to a young quarterback is wide open throws and big windows and a good running game. And nobody could argue that Mercedes Lewis wouldn't have been a much bigger upgrade. And that allows you to do some of that double teaming when you can put a tight end and just say, hey, block this defensive end. You don't need to maul him, but cover him up and make sure that he's not in the backfield and all this. Mercedes Lewis is one of the best in the business at that, and he still is. And I'm guessing Matt LaFleur understood that, and that's why he went to bat to try to keep Mercedes, and unfortunately he lost that battle. And I think that's a little bit of a ripple effect as far as why we've seen some of the struggles that we've seen in the run game.
All right, before we get to a couple texts, I want to get to a call. Jesse, did I misread your text message that Dave in Atlanta has been on hold since Monday?
Dave in Atlanta called in on Monday, was on hold for close to an hour wanting to weigh in on the Packers' loss to the Vikings, had to go just before we got to his turn to get onto the show. And now he's called back, and he said he's willing to wait on hold another 55 minutes if need be.
What do we play? We play the show when you're on hold, at least, right? So you get to listen to the show.
Yeah, it's like you get a VIP listening experience.
Yeah, exactly. No video, though. All right, Dave, thanks for holding for 2.5 days. Good morning. Welcome to Wilde and Tausch. How are you today?
Wow, what a nice thing Jesse just did to bum rush me to the front of the line at the club. That's
Fast
cool.
pass.
That's pretty impressive.
As Mickey Mouse does at his place. Yes. Oh, boy.
Usually I'm a big Tausch fan, and I'm not always with Jason, but Jason has been right on the money with a lot of this and what you guys been discussing. is, Tausch has been saying, oh, we're regressing. We're regressing. We start scoring 0-0 all in the second halves. Okay, we're staying the same, which is not great. But I would say the number one thing, there's a lot of there's a lot of things to do with 11 guys on the field, and they're all making different mistakes at different times. Yeah, they're young. But the one thing that Goody could do, or that the team could recognize, is all the tape that everybody watches. Balaga watches it, Tausch watches it, Goody watches it, is Josh Myers' unbelievable, terrible play. He's whiffing on play after play after play. He's set a new record, the Don Barclay turnstile record, for helping to turn around and pick up the guy that just got tackled by his man. If there's a stats for it, Josh Myers should now have leading the NFL in picking up the guy you didn't block. Just he's terrible.
So Dave, let
yes.
me ask you this though. Here's the problem, and Tausch, help me out with this. But would Zach Tom be an upgrade at center? Yes, right. But you can't move him. You need him to be your right tackle, and that is an important position too. Beyond that, what alternative do you have? Is he keeping his job not because he deserves it, but because he's their best option among a series of bad options? Like they clearly don't want Sean Ryan on the field, because if you really wanted to make a move, you move John Runyon to center and you bring Sean Ryan off the bench. They have not done that. We heard Steno say that, whether this is low praise or not, that Josh Myers is playing the best football of his career. So either they don't see it the same way Dave and you and I see it, or they just can't say what they really want to say is, we don't have anybody that's going to be any better anyway.
Right. Let me interrupt for a second.
You go ahead, Dave.
Jason's absolutely right. But even a good Zach Tom, you got at least somebody else that incrementally doesn't do as much damage. So now you're just talking about damage control. And right now, Josh Myers has got to go. He's got to not play, because he's not even close. Play after play after play. So at this point, Tausch, I would suggest you got to shuffle the deck chairs on the Titanic, so that at least the guy that's closest to the quarterback, the center of the whole line play, all that stuff, that guy is the key. And so that's where you absolutely must make a change, I think.
Well, thanks for the call. I get it. I think everybody understands it, and I know that the coaches want to be successful, and they want to put guys in position that's going to allow them to be successful. I firmly believe that they think Josh Myers is one of their 5 best. Now, is that good enough? I agree with you. Is that what they want to have happen? No, but they would put – the thing that I'm wondering, though, again, because everybody wants to see Sean Ryan. Obviously, they don't believe that Sean Ryan can play center, or that he is going to be an upgrade and move Runyon over. But they probably said that same thing about Rasheed Walker. And then they put Yosh Nijman in there, and Yosh definitely played better than Rasheed did last week. Great point. At some point, you have to at least acknowledge that if you're watching film and you're seeing that there's leakage and there's issues, you need to give guys opportunities to prove that you're right or that you're wrong. Third-round picks always get opportunities. They always do. And the fact that he's been here now, this is his second year, right, Jason?
Correct, yes.
Sean Ryan's second.
Yeah.
The fact he hasn't seen the field under these circumstances with all of the injuries, there must be – then I just wonder, what are you keeping him for? Why you even got him on the roster? Because this would be the opportunity to get him out there and play. But they would put somebody else in there. If they felt like Josh Myers is a complete disaster and we can't do anything, they would say, well, all right, well, what's our next best option? Is it better? And if it's not, therein I think lies the problem of what we've seen throughout the year, and why we're not getting any better is you're not really doing anything different. And when you don't do that, what do you expect to have happen?
We'll get to more of your texts. Thanks to Dave for his call and waiting for 2.5 days to get onto the program. But I want to get to a few texts. I know there's one that's up on the video stream right now that I want to talk about. Want to remind you, I mentioned yesterday the scary thing that Maddie and Paula went through. Again, I always say it. I'm really glad that we've never had to use our friendship with David Gruber and the folks at his firm in a legal capacity. We just get to be buddies with them. And I'm glad that Paula and I have them in our life. But if for some reason you ever do sustain serious injuries, you or someone you care about in an accident, then David Gruber and Gruber Law Offices is the one call you need to make. 414-276-6666, 414-276-6666. That is Gruber Law Offices, and it's not just a slogan, one call, that's all. You make that call, you get the ball rolling, and you don't have to worry anymore. You know you've got the best legal team working for you. Check out gruber-law.com to find out more. We'll get to your text, and then we'll get to Homer straight ahead. Stick around.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. Well, it's always a good time to get that special someone in your life a beautiful gift. And when I'm in need of a new piece of jewelry, Chalmers Jewelers is my go-to place. Whether I want a timeless classic or a one-of-a-kind piece, Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison has just what I'm looking for. My life has been made so much easier thanks to the great team over at Chalmers Jewelers, and is the reason I keep going back for more. Visit chalmersjewelers.com to find your perfect new piece of jewelry today.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Broommate back tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau.
The standards have been set from quarterbacks that have been here before us, and you're trying to continue to raise your game until you get to that bar.
This is your Green and Gold Fix on 100.5 ESPN.
You're going to evolve throughout the course of the season. It's always the fine line of what's too much.
This Green and Gold Fix is driven by Metro Ford.
The Packers might be on a 4-game losing skid, but Rashawn Gary has something to celebrate. The outside linebacker has signed a 4-year, $107 million extension with the team. Gary has a team-best 4.5 sacks this season, leads the NFL in quarterback pressures with 28, and has played in every game after tearing his ACL last year. With the extension behind him, Gary is ready to just focus on playing ball.
It just made me hungrier, man. The organization that believed in me, trusted me, and sees my growth from when I came in, and see the man that I'm still becoming and the player that I'm working to become and still on the rise to become.
Gary and the Packers preparing to face the 3-5 Los Angeles Rams Sunday at Lambeau Field. Kickoff is set for noon.
Purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Ford at Metro Ford of Madison on the east side today.
Madison Computer Works knows using computers is more dangerous than ever. Scammers try to scare you and steal your information or money. Emails try to phish your login and password. Online pop-ups and messages try to trick you, telling you there's something wrong with your computer even when there's not. Madison Computer Works can protect you from these threats. Our computer care plans help stop the scammers and fix your computer problems. Call 608-231-8000 for the computer support you deserve. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
At Starion Bank, they pride themselves on being a super community bank. small enough to show they care about you and the communities they serve, while being large enough to make big things happen. With 3 Madison area branches in Middleton, Sun Prairie, and Monona, Starion Bank is here investing in your community while offering valuable personal and business banking services. Start your experience with Starion Bank today by going to starionbank.com. Member FDIC.
This is Wilde and Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
I want to get to our text messages. I have been putting together my question list for Goody, and I know that I've got some awesome colleagues who have really good questions in store too. But if you have a question that you as a fan would like asked, you can tweet us at Wilde and Tausch. You can text us as part of the ESPN Wisconsin Talk and Text line, 844-770-3776. I want to make sure, Tausch, that we take full advantage of this, considering how infrequently Goody talks to us. Back in the day, I would call Ron Wolf's office, and Jeannie Bruette would answer the phone and say, "I'm sorry, Jason, he can't take your call right now. He's in a meeting, but he'll call you back." And he called me back literally every single time.
The old days.
Yeah.
The old days, huh?
I wish we knew that they were the good old days when we were in them. And that's not how it works nowadays, and I get that. But it would be nice if the general manager spoke a little more frequently than he does.
Why isn't it, though? Why isn't it?
Look, I don't want to get off on a rant here. I want to get to these text messages, but I would say
like
this.
a good rant, though.
I know you
Love a
do,
good
and you do have the ability to elicit those from me. My biggest issue, and you guys have heard me talk about this time and again, is that if you are going to constantly play the narrative card of we're owned by the fans and we're community owned, then I believe that you have a higher standard to your fans. And they don't believe that, but I do. And so your fans have questions, your fans have frustrations. Your general manager is one of the forward-facing people in the organization, in the football operation. It shouldn't just be Matt LaFleur 4 times a week. The general manager should speak more frequently. And I think
how often do you want him speaking?
I think once a month. Like again, I would rather be able to call him like the good old days, and you used to do that with Ted too for the first half of his tenure, by the way. And the memories of being a nervous wreck, waiting for Ron Wolf to call you back, and making sure. I made this mistake a few times. If your first question, if it had a flawed premise that he would shoot down, and your subsequent questions were tied to that flawed premise, and you had to throw that out, there was no worse place to be in with Ron than that, because now you're scrambling, and you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Not that that ever happened to me, of course. All right, Jesse, what do you got from the text portion of the Talk and Text line about the Rasul Douglas trade?
Well, speaking of Goody, here's the one we had up right before the commercial break from Ben in Sauk City. Goody is driving this team into the ground. His antics caused Aaron, Devontae, and others to leave. Now he trades away a team leader. He needs to go. Ben in Sauk City, calling for Goot's head.
Yeah, I don't think we've reached that point. But to Ben's text, Tausch, look, just because a guy has worked here or knows the Packers way or all these other things does not mean that the decisions he makes are the right ones, right? Like, we kind of feel like, and again, in fairness, when you have Hall of Fame quarterbacks, which Ted got his in Rodgers, Ron got his by trading for Favre, you make mistakes as a GM too. You just have someone who helps you erase them. And people forget about Brett Conway to some degree, wasting a 3rd-round pick on a kicker, or some of the other mistakes that Ted might have made with his first-round draft picks that weren't very good, because they still won a Super Bowl. And with Goody, now you don't have that quarterback. you don't have someone erasing your mistakes. And if this turns out to be a mistake, like some others have, that's how you get fired. Because sooner or later, you reach the point where there's too many mistakes and no one's covering for them.
Yeah, I mean, the 2021 draft has not been good. And I've said a bunch about Goody. I think what he did with that roster on that cold, blustery day when they fired Mike McCarthy, turning it into a two-time NFC championship and a number one seed twice. The team was positioned to win championships. Brian Gutekunst was a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look at it, and that is his first window. The Aaron Rodgers era. It finished poorly. Obviously, trading Devontae and Aaron is now part of this new era. The new era is going to be rough. I think he and Mark Murphy were in alignment as far as how this was going to play. I think that so he let Mark know this is how it's going to go. We're going to do this, and then it's going to be a little lean. Now, people are going to get frustrated by that, and I understand it. But if his picks don't work and he does not build this roster back up, he's not going to have a job. Matt LaFleur's not going to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's how this business works. Everybody understands that, and you have a finite – not everybody gets to be a GM for 15 or 20 years. And especially when you don't have a championship pelt on the wall under your tenure, that leash even gets a little shorter. So all of this criticism is fair game for Brian Gutekunst. If Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed and all these guys end up being busts and not working out, he ain't going to have a job. That's how this works. That's what he's betting on. And the biggest bet is that Jordan Love's going to be a really good player. Now, he could have done things, I believe, to make things better. He didn't. And that's part of why we're seeing what we're seeing. And you know whose door that falls onto? It's Brian Gutekunst. So all of this criticism is fair game.
Jesse, let's get to one more text before we get to Homer.
Another Ben, this one in Menominee Falls. I know some people are calling for Matt LaFleur to be fired, but with how Goot has completely destroyed the roster, has anyone thought about LaFleur leaving on his own?
No.
So, Tausch, let's take the first part of that first.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm not willing to say that he has destroyed the roster. What he has done, though, is stripped it down to the studs and torn down all the drywall and put up new drywall that may or may not turn out to be sturdy enough, right? Like
he got rid of the studs, am I right?
Hey, nice. That wasn't bad. But like we all knew, even though he wasn't using the word, and he flat out said we're not rebuilding on a pre-season game interview that he did on the TV network. We all knew that they were, right? We're not stupid. But I don't think we can say that he has destroyed the roster. I think he believes he has planted seeds that are going to grow into a beautiful garden. The problem is that gardens don't always bloom. You know, you got deer and rabbits eating it. You get bugs that kill the flowers. Like, there's no guarantee that it won't turn out to have been destroyed. But I don't think we can say he's destroyed the roster. Can you?
No, not at this point. But what are facts is he's gotten some decisions wrong. The Devontae Adams at the top of that list, and that's, I believe, set a ripple effect through to where we're at now. The Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love transition. Jordan Love was drafted earlier than he should have been, is regard to time, not picks, not being a first-round pick, but you extended him. So there's a lot of things, but this all comes down to how his evaluation, and if these young players become really good players, this is going to be that was a tough time, but look at what we've got on the other end. And I believe he's probably got assurances he's going to get that time to let this thing play out.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm asking for is let's see some improvement. Let's see some growth. And if you see that, and even if this ends up being that stink pot year that I didn't envision, all right, then we're going to see you're going to have to go and supplement like you did in 18 with some free agents, and you're going to have to overpay a little bit. That's where you're at right now, because I don't think anybody's looking at this roster now and saying, yep, we're 1 or 2 players away. You better make sure these young players, and especially wide receivers and Musgrave, they better be good players. And if they are, I think we're going to be fine with the Brian Gutekunst. If they're not, it's going to be Deuces B.
G.
Yeah, BG.
He's not, I don't think he's sitting in his garage at his beer fridge cracking a Coors Light open right now and saying, oh, I got all this stuff right. He might be drinking his Coors Light, crossing his fingers and hoping that his team gets hot, just like the mountains get cold and blue.
That's pretty good, Jason. Coors Light brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lagered, cold filtered, and it is cold packaged, so it is made to chill. Born in those Rocky Mountains of Colorado in 1978, Coors Light's refreshing. It's crisp. It's only 102 calories. That's why it's Coors Light in my hand when I need a moment to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Homer's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust. As the football season rolls on, the days are getting shorter, and you know what that means. Whether you want to hear it or not, winter is creeping up just around the corner. So here's the thing. You can choose to ignore that brutal Wisconsin winter is quickly approaching, or you can do the smart thing and think about getting your vehicle prepared now so you don't have any issues when that slippery snow first falls. I recommend stopping in to see the amazing service team at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Get a tune-up, check the battery, check your tires. That's a big one for the winter. Change the oil, and make sure all the inner workings of your vehicle are in tip-top shape. You take my word for it. From summer road trips all around the state to driving to work in the tumultuous Wisconsin winter, Zimbrick Chevrolet is truly the name you can trust. Schedule a service appointment, view vehicle inventory, and learn more about all they have to offer at ZimbrickChevrolet.com. That's ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust.
Every Thursday this football season, huddle up for the Great Dane Huddle, live from the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company.
Hey, it's Alex Strofe. Join me and former Badgers and NFLers Derek Engler and Tarek Saleh this Thursday for the Great Dane Huddle, live from the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company. 24-10, the scores of the weekend. We'll react to both. The Packers and the Badgers lost Thursday at 6, right here on 100.5 ESPN.
The Great Dane Huddle with Alex Strofe, Tarek Saleh, and Derek Engler. Thursdays at 6 on 100.5 ESPN.
Dash the Dane. That's right, Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company has expanded their delivery offerings with DoorDash. New customers get $5 off your first order of $25 or more. And don't forget, Dash Pass subscribers always receive free delivery. Order delivery today at GreatDanePub.com or on the DoorDash app and get food delivered from the Great Dane closest to you. Downtown, Hilldale, Fitchburg, or East Madison. Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994.
Hey, it's Stacy Bruner from Bruner Realty. People have been telling me that buying a home is nothing to joke about, so instead of telling you another real estate joke, I'm going to have somebody else do it.
Jesse Nelson here. Why did the real estate agent buy a skateboard? So he could flip it.
Come on, Jesse, this is no laughing matter.
Well, when it's time to get serious about buying or selling, that's when people should do what we did and work with you.
Contact us at BrunerRealtyInc.com. Bruner Realty, homes to appreciate.
Ben Bruss to tell you about one of my favorite teams in the area, Zimbrick European. For over 3 years, I've trusted them with my car buying process, and I'm never going anywhere else. From Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, their pre-owned and Sprinter vans, they have something for everyone. Don't drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary. I love the sexiest car on the lot that I found this time, a nice Zimbrick Mercedes. Find what you love. Test drive, and they will make leasing affordable. Zimbrick European.
We all share the same roads, but when an accident happens, we don't always share the same consequences. Big trucks can cause big damage. Injuries can be severe and may require a lifetime of care and compensation. Call Gruber Law Offices today. We can help you from the safety and comfort of your own home. Our virtual sign-up process is quick and easy. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
There's nothing like a great night's sleep. If your mattress isn't quite right, chances are you're not sleeping as well as you should be. Steinhoffel's exclusive Discover Your Sleep system maps your body and sleeping position, and then finds the perfect mattress for you through science. So, stop in and find your perfect mattress with the Discover Your Sleep system, only at Steinhoffel's. Relax. It's Steinhoffel's.
You're listening to Madison's home for Milwaukee Bucks basketball.
Lillard, three-pointer for the lead. It's Dame time.
Madison's home of Dame Time is 100.5 ESPN.
Jesse's working to connect with Uncle Homer, so before we talk to him, and I'm going to ask him the same question. I'm not sure how helpful he'll be, but I know you will be. What should I ask Goody? I've got here, was there interest in your other veterans? Do you have to consider when you make a trade like this, what the message is that you're sending to your locker room, and what message do you think they're taking this as? How do you view your current situation at corner, given that you don't have Stokes for at least another 3 games and Jair's status is up in the air from week to week? And then given your youth at the pass catching positions and your offensive line's inconsistency, how do those things factor into how you've evaluated Jordan Love through 7 games?
The only other thing that I would for sure want to know about is the relationship with Matt LaFleur, because it's got to be hard on Matt. And getting in, how much communication are you having with Matt? Do you understand how Matt is probably feeling frustrated about this? And you're better at wording that up. But that would be, to me, out of everything that you just mentioned there, and I think obviously the tone of the locker room and what that is, but the Matt LaFleur component of this and how in unison these two are, I believe is a huge part of if this thing's going to be successful, whether you want to call it a rebuild or not. If they're not on the same page, this ain't going to work. So that would be where I'm interested in seeing what he has to say about that.
All right. Well, we'll see what Uncle Homer has to say about that. Joining us now, you hear him each weekday, 5 to 6, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee on the Homer Hour. He's got John Anderson. He's got Bulaga, Dr. Bulaga. He's got me. He's got Tim Van Voren joining him. You also hear him on the Marquette Men's Basketball Radio Network, and you see him on YouTube.
Benkert joined him too, didn't he? Didn't he try to get Kirk Benkert?
Oh, did I? I didn't hear that.
I saw him tweeting at him. I don't know if he ended up getting him, but he should. Benkert should come on. He's
talk video games.
Bashing LaFleur a little bit. Yeah.
You can also check him out on God Talk with Homer and Pip on YouTube. It is Steve the Homer True. Homer, good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm not good. Kurt Benkert, I gave him my cell phone. I put my cell phone on Twitter.
Publicly?
Yeah.
Yeah, he boldly put it out there. He did.
What do you mean? I give it on my show. My phone number is 414-308-4785. Who cares? If I don't want to answer the phone, I don't answer the phone. And, I mean, I don't understand why people – but anyway, yes, I gave him my cell phone. I didn't hear from him. I kind of want to feel like, forget you. But I don't know.
Well, on the flip side, I have Kurt Warner's phone number. So Tausch has wanted me to get Kurt Warner on. No, we're taking Kurt Warner. I'm not giving you his number.
That's a Wildy double dip if I've ever.
I think we could both get Kurt Warner. He seems to be the kind of guy that
is.
Could we get Kurt Warner and Kurt Benkert at the same time and have 2 Kurts?
That wouldn't be confusing at all.
No.
I want Benkert to go on Homer's show, and I want Warner to be on our show.
Kurt Benkert is fired. I mean, the choice between the two is like the difference between eating food and grass.
I don't mean to be
probably why he's
curt
not
with
coming
Kurt
on your
and Kurt.
show.
I like it.
I mean, Kurt Warner, if I was going to have one quarterback guy, Trent Dilford used to be the guy, but he's now a head coach at UAB. It would now be Kurt Warner. I think he's the best.
He is excellent, no doubt about it. We still love Matt Hasselbeck on our show, too.
He's very good, too, yes.
All right, Homer, you saw the news of this trade.
Yes.
What does it tell you that you either didn't already know or maybe you did already know? And what does it make you feel about this team, both in the short term and in the long term?
Tells me nothing. One of the most insignificant trades ever. And the fact that all of a sudden Rasul Douglas is a big deal is amazing to me. Buffalo gave him a deal, and Goody's like, yeah, it's pretty good. Go. He's nobody. He's a guy.
No, he's more than a
– He become of some significance.
Since the start of the 21 season, there are only 2 players who have intercepted more passes in the NFL than him.
Right. I listened to you.
He's been their best corner all year.
He had a good 21 season. You talked all last year about but Rasul Douglas is gone, right? I mean, he's not that good a player. He's 29. And
28.
And to get something decent – no, he's not. He's 29.
I like this. Somebody else arguing about birthdays.
Turned 29 in August.
Okay.
Yes, he's better this year than last year. The team stinks, so he's like the best player. But there's nothing. The future of the Packers, it's just the guy. And Buffalo, I'm sure, inquired.
Homer,
now, if they would traded LaFleur, if they had traded Clark or they had traded out, a player of significance. This is all of a sudden he's great because he got traded.
Is he a better player than Jair Alexander?
It's not about that.
What?
It's not about that, Homer. It's about
Jair Alexander
what that
is 5 times the player he is. And the problem is that Alexander isn't playing well.
Last week he wasn't.
Fine. Yes, we're gonna base keeping Rasul Douglas on last week or this year. Look at him last year. Yeah, find some stat that talks about what he's done over 3 years. But go back to what everybody thought about him last year. Playing better this year. He's of no major significance at all, and to present it that way is just disingenuous. If you don't
but it's about them.
Think he's a bad GM, fine. But this has nothing to do with whether he's a good GM or a bad GM until we decide who he gets when he uses the draft pick.
So you don't think that sends any kind of message to anybody
None that they don't already have.
I disagree.
They know they're not a very good team. Does losing Rasul Douglas change anything? No.
It's not going to make you any better.
Fine, but you don't know what you are already? What do you think the players on this team believe? We're not any good, and Rasul Douglas means we're a little less not any good, but, what? I'm just
think
amazed.
They look at it.
Rasul Douglas has never been viewed as this important as an entire life in the past or in the present. A team, Buffalo, that feels like they've had injuries, that he can help what they have. But it amazes me, really.
Okay. Look, I would say this. I think he is not a all-pro player. But, again, on a team devoid of veterans and devoid of corner options right now, including with your best 2-time All-Pro second-team corner who you don't know from week to week is going to be in the lineup. I think of all the guys of the veterans on defense that you could have moved, and, again, if there's not demand for them, you obviously can't trade them. But of all the guys that you could have moved, I would have actually felt better about the idea of making moves to make you better in the long term if you had moved Preston Smith, if you had moved Devondre Campbell, or you had moved Keyshawn Nixon. Because in all 3 cases, I think you have guys that can be options right away that can get valuable opportunities. You can get Lucas Van Ness more work at edge rusher. You can get Isaiah McDuffie more work at inside linebacker. You can still find room for a corner who is now going to be playing as a starter in Carrington Valentine or Corey Ballantyne to be your 3rd corner in the nickel. If you trade Keyshawn Nixon, who, by the way, I think Jaden Reed can probably be similarly effective given the opportunity. Because for most of the season, you're getting touchbacks on kickoff. So any of those three, who also aren't all-time great players, regardless of the one first-team All-Pro selection that Devondre Campbell had in 2021, I don't think there's a huge difference among any of those four players I just mentioned. But trading Rasul Douglas at this point in time tells you that we don't give a damn about the next 4 games.
Oh, come on.
No, they don't have anyone to play
We
corner,
don't give
Homer.
a damn? Like Rasul Douglas
About the
means
next
we don't
4
give a damn?
games.
Come on.
About the next 4 games defensively. Because
come on.
What do you mean, come on?
I think it's so incredibly. We don't give a damn. That's garbage.
Who are you playing at corner?
He's not that important. Whoever they play, you know the guys.
Right,
they
but
won't be as good. They won't be as good. We don't give a damn about the next 4 games. Come on, he's not important enough. If any of those other guys had been moved. What?
Is that like a Boston accent? Where is that coming from?
That's
come
a good question.
on.
I don't know. It wasn't trying to do anything. But
normally it's come on. Come on. And all of a sudden today you're going with come
The
on.
only reason they traded him is they got a better deal than they probably could have gotten for any of those other guys, or they would have traded them too.
Did they get a good deal? Is the equivalency of a 4th-round pick
I don't
a good
know.
deal?
It's like 40 or 50 picks. I mean, the issue on that, we all know, is whether you believe in Goody. If you don't believe in Goody, they couldn't get a good deal. He'll screw up.
Do you?
I think they got a good deal? Yeah.
No, do
I
you
think
believe
they
in
did
Goody? I don't care if you think it's a good
Do
deal.
I
Do you
believe
believe in Goody?
I'm just like you. I'm very iffy. I was very positive toward the recent draft, and those players don't seem to have done so. I'm on the border. So, are you requiring me to have a? What am I required?
So I'm polling this. You love Twitter X polls. Is it because it used to always be in Ted we trust? And we all believed in Ted until we didn't.
He's no Ted.
And now if I say in Goody we trust, do you say yes or do you say no?
I would have to say no. But I'm not asking him to be fired. But I understand the people. And Goody is way more important. My view has always been the GM is 80%, the coach is 20%. And you give me a good GM with players. Bill Belichick's historic career is being ruined by Bill Belichick, the GM. Perfect example.
We will continue with Uncle Homer next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Mark Tosher here for Chalmers Jewelers. Well, it's always a good time to get that special someone in your life a beautiful gift. And when I'm in need of a new piece of jewelry, Chalmers Jewelers is my go-to place. Whether I want a timeless classic or a one-of-a-kind piece, Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison has just what I'm looking for. My life has been made so much easier thanks to the great team over at Chalmers Jewelers, and is the reason I keep going back for more. Visit chalmersjewelers.com to find your perfect new piece of jewelry today.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Stoughton Trailers. Big trailers and big opportunity at Stoughton Trailers. Positions now open in production, operations, finance, sales, engineering, supply chain, and more. To apply today, go to stojobs.com. The UW men's basketball team unofficially tips off their season tonight in an exhibition game at the Kohl Center against UW Stevens Point. Head coach Greg Gard and his expectations.
It's good for the state. I think it puts basketball in a spotlight at various levels for that night, and we're looking forward just to see how we respond and how we play together.
Tip-off between the Pointers and the Badgers set for 7 p.m. tonight at the Kohl Center. The Badgers officially get their season underway Monday as they host Arkansas State.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Visit PellaWI.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. I joined the Princeton Club because I was looking for a place I could invest in my health, and the environment and the community I have felt has made it so easy for me to incorporate it into my everyday life. It doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey because they have something to offer everyone. It also goes beyond fitness. From the moment you walk in the club to the moment you walk out, there is a togetherness felt throughout the members and staff that keeps you going for your better tomorrow. Don't wait any longer and get started on your fitness journey today at PrincetonClub.net. That's PrincetonClub.net.
Ruggability. We straight made that word up. How else to describe the otherwise indescribable rugged, capable, incredible versatility and affordability of a Honda SUV? Car and Driver calls Honda the winningest brand in 10 Best history. Your kids will call it totally lit. But we like ruggability, and you'll like the incredifantabulous deals, so see your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin.
With over 25 years of experience, TLC Laser Eye Centers is a leader in LASIK. TLC has performed over 2.3 million LASIK procedures nationwide, including treatment for over 10,000 doctors and professional football player Kirk Cousins.
TLC Laser Eye Centers is a brand that's proven and can be trusted. This was not a procedure I wanted to cut corners on. I wanted to get the best quality and the best doctors and make sure that it was done to the highest level. And I felt that TLC was the brand that would do that. And so it made the decision easy for me and for my wife.
Come see why TLC is the doctor's choice for LASIK and the choice for Kirk Cousins. Right now, TLC Laser Eye Centers is offering $1,000 off LASIK when treated in November. That's $500 off per eye plus guaranteed financing. Visit tlcoffer.com today to schedule your free consultation. Must mention this promotion and be treated in November of 2023 to qualify. $1,000 off for both eyes on standard wavelength price. $500 off for one eye. Cannot be combined with any other offers. See details at tlcoffer.com.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. Win game day gear by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill or a Brewmate. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 plus to enter.
Whatever you do, make sure you do it right. Whatever you do, make sure.
I don't want to belabor this point, and maybe give a damn is too strong. But the Packers...
I need an open seat.
The Packers' next 4 games, because and again, I don't know. There's 3 more games that at least that Eric Stokes has to spend on IR. But the Packers' next 3 games are the Rams, the Steelers, the Chargers. Then they've got Detroit on Thanksgiving. If you don't have Rasul Douglas on your team anymore, you don't have Eric Stokes, and you don't know from week to week if the best corner that you have, 2-time second-team All-Pro, Jair Alexander, is going to be available to you. Would you bet a meaningful amount of money that Jair Alexander is going to play in the next 4 games, all 4 of them? I wouldn't. How can you possibly say that this trade does not say that in the short term we don't care? What we care about is getting another higher pick so we can improve our team for next year. I don't know how you can't – I don't know how you – regardless of whether you think we're making too big of a deal of Rasul Douglas, and frankly, if they'd have traded one other player – it wouldn't all be on Rasul Douglas. We'd be talking about Preston Smith, too, or we'd be talking about Devondre Campbell, too. But he's the only one who got traded. So maybe that's why he's getting this much attention. But, like, with what you've got at corner, I don't know how you can say that this does not send, at least in the very short term, a message of, we don't care if you win or lose the next 4 games, and you have to trot Valentine and Ballantyne out there as your 2 starting corners.
I do want to emphasize that my belief about not giving a damn is the result of Jason Wilde and the person who has nailed this season perfectly by saying they would win 6 games. So my point is, stealing from Jason Wilde, the reality is, as he has stated, given the veterans
they never cared.
Various positions, they didn't give a damn about the whole season.
Agreed.
So now I have to go to Jason Wilde about Rasul Douglas to find out where that sits on the list. And I believe it's still not high on the list. High on the list was veteran tight end or veteran wide receiver. I'm willing to defer to you on the things that have occurred that say they don't give a damn about this season because you saw it first. You explained why. And this is just the latest example. But I think you're overselling where that fits on the list. But I will defer to you because you've had this right from the very beginning.
Right. All right. So here's and Tausch, help me with this because this is my point. Even in a season where you don't really care about the results, right? I mean, Matt LaFleur's quote was, we have to focus on the process, not on the outcomes all the time.
Yeah.
But when you're 2-5 and you're struggling, you still need some wins. You need some good vibes on occasion.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Tausch, do you need them or no in the locker room and among your players?
So, I mean, obviously winning is what you need to gain confidence and hopefully to continue to get better. You need to have something show that what you're doing is working. But if your whole goal on the season is just to get through it and get some experience for your young players and then just get a bunch of draft picks and keep doing it, the risk you take is that this seeps in and becomes the new normal. And every year is different, and I'm not saying that's the case, but I've seen this play out. And when you accept losing and it becomes part of the normal deal, and you're not scrapping and fighting for every win, it becomes more difficult to say that that's your most important thing. And that's the balancing act when you're rebuilding of getting young guys experience and getting them to learn what it takes to win when you don't have anybody in the room that actually knows. That's why the Rasul Douglas is a big deal, in my opinion. It's not because Rasul Douglas is Deion Sanders, but I do think Rasul Douglas is somebody that the guys listen to, that the head coach went to help with his messaging, and has been a good player for them. And when you say Deuces RD for a third, fourth-round pick, you're basically telling the rest of your locker room, we're going to keep scrapping, but this is going to be a long year. That's what you're telling your group.
Can I ask you both a question? Isn't this exactly what they've done at wide receiver and tight end? Exactly.
Except with higher picks at those positions too, by the way.
Well, but I mean, in terms of the position and what you're both referring to, and not addressing or taking advantage of veteran help, which would make that position better. They've now done at quarterback exactly what they did at wide receiver and tight end. How could anybody on the team be surprised at all?
Yeah.
I can't compete with that one. You're right. I can't. Homer, I will talk to you later today.
Yeah.
I still think they don't. You're right. I will give you these points. I basically said they don't give a damn about the
season.
I basically said they don't give a damn about the season.
You are the expert on this season. Everybody should know that at this point.
Not a ball game left.
Change. Yes, but right now, you're the man. So go ahead. I'll listen.
Thanks, Homer. No,
Homer's right about that.
I did say that they don't give a damn about this season, essentially. So this is just further evidence of that. I'll talk to you later today, buddy. Thanks.
Bye.
The 11 o'clock hour, which will include me departing for Brian Gutekunst to speak to the media at 11:30. I'm still getting some texts and tweets on questions that you would like to see posed. Not all of them are constructive and helpful. Do you think you should be fired? No, I'm probably not going to ask that one. But we'll continue with that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey, it's Alex Strouf. What gets lost in the middle of football season is the fact that the holidays are going to sneak up on you. So while you're thinking of it, there's no better place to go than Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. Diamond Jim, the owner of the store, is in the store every single day, 7 days a week, ready to help you, whether you're looking to take that next step or you just need to treat your special someone or yourself. There's no better place to do it than with Jim at Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. Visit them online, condonjeweler.com. That's condonjeweler.com. Or pop in today on the east side of Madison.
Hi, this is former Badger Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison. Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day. Join host Colin Russo, Brad Nortman, Chris Orr, and Adam Mertz 2 hours before and immediately after every Wisconsin football game this season on ESPN Wisconsin and Wisconsin On Demand. The Green Bay Packers dealers at the trade deadline yesterday afternoon, sending Rasul Douglas and a fifth-round pick to the Buffalo Bills in exchange for a 2024 third-round pick in the NFL Draft. The move surprising several people, including ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter, who joined ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Gaben Chewy earlier this morning.
I was surprised. I didn't understand it, to be perfectly frank. You're taking a starting cornerback and you're trading him for essentially 2 rounds in the draft. Like, it was that important to move on.
Reactions continuing on at 100.5 ESPN with more Wilde and Tausch coming up next. The Packers are listed as 3-point favorites for Sunday's game hosting the LA Rams. Packers back at practice today. General Manager Brian Gutekunst meeting with the media in about 30 minutes. We'll hear some of what he has to say before the conclusion of Wilde and Tausch.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. And I want to get to some of those text messages, but Jesse played during the Sports Center on ESPN Madison. Adam Schefter talking about this trade with Jen Gaben Chewy this morning. Jen Gaben Chewy 7 to 9 each weekday on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, leading into our show. And Jesse, can you play that for everyone that wasn't listening in Madison and didn't hear your Sports Center? Because I was surprised that he was surprised. I thought, maybe his take would be something different, but he's just as surprised or maybe more so than I was.
And even for those in Madison, we have the extended cut that we can play.
Ooh, extended cut.
Here's Adam Schefter on Jen Gaben Chewy this morning.
I was surprised. I didn't understand it, to be perfectly frank. You're taking a starting cornerback and you're trading him for essentially 2 rounds in the draft. Like, it was that important to move on from a guy who makes plays, who starts a cornerback, to take a 5th-round pick and turn it into it. Now, again, I want to hear more about it because yesterday there were 8 trades that were finalized. There was a coach who was fired. We got Halloween going on. And I was surprised that you would trade a starting cornerback for essentially 2 rounds in a draft.
Yeah. Again, I understand that it's the equivalent of a 4th-round pick, which is probably a reasonable, fair amount for Rasul Douglas, right? He's not a top. You're not trading Jair Alexander, but again, you don't have another swing at the plate in the draft in the spring as a result of this trade. Like, Tausch, if you told me they traded him for a 4th-round pick, maybe I'm a little less negative about the trade because, again, another swing. And we know how many really good players have been 4th-round picks, right? David Bakhtiar, like the list goes on and on. TJ Lang, Josh Sitton, Royce Newman. So I get it. But it is a starting corner, and it is at a position where, we were talking before about how they had champagne problems at it, figuring out how to get Eric Stokes in, and now they definitely, even while they still had Rasul Douglas, they had a shortage of corners. Now they don't have him either. again, Matt LaFleur, there's no way, Tausch, after practice today, he's going to get up there and go, I can't believe Goody traded Rasul on us. He was one of my leaders in the locker room. He's not going to say that. But I don't know how he's not feeling that way today. I just don't.
So how is he going to handle it? If you're guessing, and we'll play his audio tomorrow when you ask about it, what's he going to say?
He's going to say, this is the team we have, and we got to coach them up and get them ready for the Rams. Our focus is on the Rams. We can't. There's nothing we can do about where the roster stands. We have to focus. We have to coach the guys that are here, and our expectations are we're going to go out. We're going to go out and beat the Rams. That's our focus. That's all we're focused on this week.
Then I follow up and say, what, you don't care about Rasul Douglas? Like, didn't he give you a lot, and you have no feelings on it?
No, Tausch, we love Rasul. We appreciate all the contributions. He's one of my favorite guys. I knew I could count on him to be a leader in that locker room, and I had
him all dialed up to help us lead in to go beat the Rams this weekend. And son of a gun, Goody traded him away, and now we stink. That dynamic between Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur, to me, is super intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
I think how could you not be, because it's your livelihood. They'll say, well, it's business. Hey, it's business. Deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's business when Matt LaFleur can't trust that he's going to have wideouts that can catch a pass or run the right route? Is he going to say, oh, it's just business? No, it's personal to him. And I think that there's and maybe I'm wrong, maybe these two are hanging out, talking all the time, and the communication's great, and they're all lined up and saying, yep, we're going to stink this year, and we're going to be a lot better next year. I know how coaches think, and I know how they think. They all know, because if this season continues the way it is, and Matt LaFleur has been assured by his boss, Mark Murphy, he's not going anywhere, you can feel fairly confident that he'll have to make some staff changes that he's not going to love.
Agreed.
And because this is not going to be accepted here. You hear these guys always tell you it's title town, baby. It's about winning championships. It's about titles, not about North Division. And that's the standard that these guys are held to. And when you make decisions and moves that they have in a full-on rebuild, which is what this is, you still need to see signs that it's working and that it's going the right direction. Because if it's not, I've seen it. I've seen it right before us. Mike Sherman did a lot of good things, but once Ted Thompson, I think Ted Thompson wanted it to work with Mike Sherman.
I agree.
think he liked Mike Sherman. And when it ended up going sideways in 4-12 and guys booking flights 3 weeks before the season ended and all this other stuff, Ted knew he couldn't do it. Ted knew he had to go, and that's how this works. And now, I don't even know if that's not even Brian Gutekunst, even if that's what he wants to, he can't, without going to talk to Mark Murphy, and that's a whole nother story. But that relationship, you're going to see both of them today. It's going to be the last time all year. That's the morally safer of today, is to figure out what that dynamic is and how it's working and where they're at in their relationship. Because if they're not aligned, then we really have to dig into why they're not aligned and what is actually happening.
Jesse, you got a text or two before we get to trivia?
I sure do. I wanted to get to this one earlier. Harold in New Jersey doesn't text the show super often, but when he does, here it is. I have no faith in Goot whatsoever and do not want him in charge of drafting in April. We are done for years to come if this GM and coaching staff stay on for next year. Doomsday from Harold in New Jersey. Tausch, what you think?
Yeah, it's too early for me to feel the way Harold does.
Agreed.
But you start analyzing, and he's put a lot of emphasis on his draft picks, and a lot of talent, drafted talent, needs to play better. If they don't, he's not going anywhere. I think even if this thing goes 4-13, I don't think Goody's going anywhere. I think Goody will be continuing on, and you have every right to be skeptical. His drafts, we all thought this was like some home run draft class, and maybe it still will be. Can't judge all these rookies on 7 games. But I can certainly start judging Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, Christian Watson,
Zach Tom.
Zach Tom's been good.
Right.
Your second-year guys are fully available to make your not a final decision, but you can say, yep. You can say, bust. You can make those picks, and you'll have a much better idea after the next 11 weeks, 10 weeks, of where this team's at, where these players are, and you better start seeing some market improvement from a lot of guys, or I can understand why people are saying, oh, yeah, great, we got a third-round pick, but look at this list. Look at who he's picked in the third round. Yep. And that would be fair criticism.
One more text here from Sam in Madison, kind of going on what you're saying, Tausch. I'm not in support of trading Rasul Douglas yesterday. While going young is good, it has obvious downsides, and one thing that we haven't talked much about is the fact that second-year guys have just as bad of struggles as rookies. It's from Sam in Madison.
Yeah, maybe not just as bad, but they definitely have struggled, other than Zach Tom, frankly, right, in terms of that 2022 draft class. You've got some guys that haven't even been able to get on the field from that draft class. But Devontae Wyatt, he has not been an impact player in year 2. There has not been a major jump there. Quay Walker, maybe slight improvement, right? He's not getting ejected. So I think there's been moments where he's looked pretty good. Sean Ryan's not playing. Romeo Doubs, we've talked about. Zach Tom is a really good player. Kingsley Enagbare has played better. I think he's made a step forward.
Sure.
Tariq Carpenter's not on the team anymore. Jonathan Ford is on the practice squad, and Rasheed Walker has been benched as the replacement left tackle. So that's last year's draft class. Tausch, I'm curious, before we play trivia, with Prize Picks for Sunday and Rasul Douglas no longer playing for the Packers, Puka Nacua, the Rams rookie wide receiver that's tearing it up. You're gonna go more on him?
Well, yeah, probably. Probably look at his numbers. Obviously Cooper Kupp, but then again, you got Brett Rippon probably QBing. All of those things will factor into my decision when I pick my players, and you can pick 2 to 6 players on Prize Picks, which is daily fantasy sports made easy. If you go up to 6 players, you can get 25x on your cash. You're not competing against other people. You're just going against the projections from Prize Picks. And you can go, we had the Equinox on Monday. Still got World Series. Still got Euro basketball. You got cricket, NASCAR. It's got everything that you're looking for. And entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that simple. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. Use that promo code WI, and you put 100 in, Prize Picks gives you 100. Go to prizepicks.com to get started today.
Caller 10 for trivia. It's Wednesday, so it's Wisconsin Geography Wednesday. Caller 10.
You doubling today or not?
We don't have time to double.
Doing a single today. Yep, double tomorrow.
Why?
Double Thursday.
Double day.
Caller
trivia.
10.
Geography.
We'll do extra. Well, maybe we can just do extra geography trivia tomorrow as one of them. Caller 10 right now, 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Trivia's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Ruggability. We straight made that word up. How else to describe the otherwise indescribable rugged, capable, incredible versatility and affordability of a Honda SUV? Car and Driver calls Honda the winningest brand in 10 best history. Your kids will call it totally lit. But we like ruggability, and you'll like the incredifantabulous deals, so see your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin.
Thinking about remodeling your bath or shower? Now's the perfect time to save on design and remodeling with Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer, offering fast, professional installation and care for life. For 2 weeks only, Kohler Services is offering $1,500 off your shower or bath remodel from now until November 15th. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wildick for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
When you want to show just how you feel, come to Chalmers Jewelers. Our custom jewelers have been working day and night to come up with the most amazing custom jewelry. Truthfully, in the 30 years I've been in business, we have the largest inventory of custom jewelry that we have ever had. Amazing prices, amazing selection, and one-of-a-kind pieces. Come see our incredible variety at either location or chalmersjewelers.com.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
Working at a company that truly cares and invests in their employees should never be taken for granted. Work, learn, and earn at the Weld School at Stoughton Trailers. The program includes 1 week of paid training starting at $18 per hour and features small class sizes designed for individual attention. No prior experience is needed because teaching their employees is all part of the Stoughton Trailers way. Graduate into a full-time position in Stoughton or Evansville. Apply today at STOjobs.com. That's STOjobs.com.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Brian Gutekunst will be at the podium in about 8 minutes. I'm going to head down there after trivia to ask the questions. I don't know how I'm going to get to the LaFleur-Goody relationship, but I'll try. Somehow, I'll try.
You'll do it.
Let's play trivia. Let's welcome in our contestant. It is Ace in Mount Horeb. Ace, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, fellas. What's going on?
Not much at all. All right, here we go. Question one. The category, of course, it's Wednesday, so it's Wisconsin Geography Wednesday. Question one is this. Spanning over 182 miles, which river found in eastern Wisconsin is the largest tributary of Lake Michigan? Is it the Fox River, the St. Croix River, or the Dock River?
That would be the Fox.
Boom, 1 for 1. The mighty Fox rolling through Green Bay.
Yeah.
All right, question 2, Ace, as you try to ace all 3 of these questions. Milwaukee Brewers manager Craig Counsell, at least for now, attended and
Not
played
anymore.
Oh,
Its contract's up. October 31, that was it.
No, it's true. Possibly former and maybe once again Brewers manager Craig Counsell attended and played baseball at which of these Wisconsin high schools? Was it Waukesha West, Whitefish Bay, or Sussex Hamilton?
That would be Whitefish Bay.
2 for 2.
These
All
are
right.
easy questions today.
Well, let's see about
very simple for Ace. Ace is crushing it.
Well, let's see about question 3. How many electoral votes electorally? How many electoral votes does Wisconsin get as part of the Electoral College for the 2024 presidential election? Is it 10, 12, or 14?
That would be 12.
Tausch, any guesses?
I'm going to say 10.
I did not know the answer to this before we started. That buzzer is for Ace. Tausch would actually get the ding, 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 ding. It
must have went up. I thought we were only 8 or 9 the last couple of election cycles.
A swing state.
We're a big swing state. Yes, very swingy.
Yeah,
All right,
swing
Ace,
state.
you got 2 out of 3. That means you got 3 of the possible 4 entries. We've only played trivia twice this week, so we have to do some doubling up later. But good luck in the drawing on Friday, buddy. Thanks.
All right, thanks, fellas. Have a great day.
All right, that is Wilde and Tausch trivia. I'm going to turn things over to Jesse and Tausch. Hopefully, I can sneak back up here before the end of the program and get your feedback.
I hope you guys have him for an hour. I hope you get Goody for an hour.
I don't foresee that as occurring. But if it does, I'll let you know.
LaFleur did 24 minutes the other day.
He did.
You don't think you're going to get Goody for 24 minutes?
Season high for the head coach. All right, I got to go. We'll see what Goody has to say. Tausch and Jesse will play Whoa Nelly next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
This is Greeny. I'm done with James Harden. He's been traded to the Clippers now. What's the over-under on the time that he decides he's frustrated with them? It's always something. You are so much better to be rid of that guy. Infinitely more trouble than he is worth. He is 100% addition by subtraction. Just let me know when that's all over.
Greeny, weekdays noon to 2 on 100.5 ESPN.
Do more together this holiday in a new Chevy. Take on more adventure in the strong and capable Chevy Silverado. More confidence in the Chevy Equinox, winner of the J.D. Power Award for initial quality among compact SUVs 2 years running. And more value in the all-new Chevy Trax with an available 11-inch diagonal touchscreen. Bring the holidays together in a new Chevy. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today. For J.D. Power 2023 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Operates 11/30/2023.
John Hayes for Goodman's Jewelers. Help us celebrate 90 years in business by visiting us at 220 State Street. We've been a part of a lot of great moments, and we want to add to those special occasions. Our staff is here to help you make that perfect selection for your memorable moment. Come see firsthand why Goodman's Jewelers has withstood the test of time and why we're truly a destination worth reaching. Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store of Madison, and a whole lot more. Goodman'sJewelers.com.
The best is at Goodman's.
2023 is a very special year for Goodman's Jewelers. We're celebrating 90 years of serving the greater Madison area. John Hayes for Goodman's Jewelers. Needless to say, that's a long time and a lot of great memories working with you, our customers. During these 9 decades, we've never deviated from our pledge to you, which is earning your trust, delivering top-notch service, and a selection that's second to none. Discover firsthand why Goodman's Jewelers is truly a destination worth reaching. 220 State Street, goodmansjewelers.com.
The best is at Goodman's.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, a special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. Win game day gear by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill or a Brewmate. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 plus to enter.
Wilde and Tausch, Jesse and Tausch for the time being. Jason is attending the media availability for Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst at Lambeau Field. We hope to hear some of what Goody had to say before the end of the show. Maybe we'll even hear from Jason if that press conference wraps up in due time. Tausch, what are you hoping to hear from Goody down there? Now that Jason's not here, let's talk about it. What do you really want to ask?
I honestly don't know if there's anything that Goody's going to say that's going to surprise me. I really am. The biggest thing for me is, that relationship with his head coach and the understanding of, does he understand that this is going to be a struggle, and is this what he expected? When he designed this roster and knew that he had a bunch of dead salary cap, and with D-Bach not being able to play, was the expectation that this team was going to struggle and look as bad as they have? I hope that answer's no, but then if it is, then you wonder, does he think that the coaching is holding back the talent? That's what this is about to me. Because right now we're hearing it from our fans. It's one or the other. It's obviously, a lot of people think both, but is it the fact that he thinks that we're devoid of talent, which obviously he's not going to think? And is Matt LaFleur thinking, well, yeah, the talent just didn't, we can't function? How that gets rectified to me is whether or not the rest of this season and moving forward, Packer fans can feel like they're in a good headspace. Because right now, there are not many people are in a good headspace. And if you don't believe me, listen to Brian Bulaga, who loves the Green Bay Packers too. Listen to what he had to say. And you tell me what you can be excited about, because there was nothing in there that would make me feel that way.
I'm really curious now if most fans are thinking that we want to see the Packers lose a bunch of games and end up with a top 5 draft pick, or if they want to see a turnaround here and kind of like, up against the wall, the miraculous turnaround where you end up winning games to get into playoff contention down the stretch and maybe you have a chance to sneak in, almost like last year, as the final seed in the postseason. I don't know what most fans would rather see at this point. I have a feeling most would say they'd rather see a top 5 pick, right?
Yeah, if only you had a way to gauge fans' interest in things.
If only.
Via a very popular platform.
Why don't you post that then?
I don't know how to poll things. I've told you that 100 times. So how did it go last night as we're waiting on, listening to what Wilde and Goody and everybody else is saying? Did we get a lot of trick-or-treaters at the house?
I'll tell you about that as we begin Whoa Nelly.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa Nelly
on Wilde and Tausch.
Tausch, I'm happy to report in a Whoa Nelly follow-up report. We were all wrong about the Halloween strategy last night. Becca nailed it. We were a popular house last night in the old subdivision. Fruit by the foot.
Okay.
Individually packaged Rice Krispie treats with the chocolate drizzle or the rainbow buttons. And the big double stuffed individual packaged Oreos. They were a hit. And we heard word of mouth advertising as kids were walking around. Oh, they got fruit by the foot over there. Oh, really? Wow, we got to get over there. We heard it last night. A lot more, probably double the traffic at the house last night than we had last year.
Wow.
A late push in the 6:30 to 7 p.m. window. We were getting ready to pack it up. The sun went down. It was chilly. We had the fire going, but a lot of people couldn't handle the temperature out there. I stayed out. Good thing I did, because we had several more trick-or-treaters roll up late. Usually that's a sign that you did something well. So proud to say that I was wrong, you was wrong, Jason was wrong, Becca was right. Fruit by the foot, Rice Krispies, and Oreos were a hit.
Okay, well, kudos to you guys. And you also had a dog that looked completely miserable.
He was not miserable.
Look at the picture you posted.
Yeah, I didn't think to put it on the video stream here. Oh, I got to get that somewhere.
The dog looks miserable. You threw some type
He was a lobster.
Lobster costume on, and he looks he or she? What kind of?
It's a he. Mo is a he, and he loved it. He may have looked miserable in the still photo, but much like when I was maligned for the living room setup that we have by Ben Brust when I first took a picture of the dog. Maybe it was just poor photography. Mo was having a great time last night. He was chewing a pig ear. It was his Halloween, too. People were coming up saying hi to him. He was having a heck of a time. Chasing his ball all around the yard. He wasn't miserable at all.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations. We should have known better. Becca usually knows what she's doing.
She usually does.
Whoa Nelly
Here, Tausch, I want to ask you a couple of other trades that took place around the National Football League yesterday.
I don't understand this, though. So I've been getting crushed for being wrong on a lot of stuff with the Packers because I've been wrong. I had this team getting better. I thought we'd be better. I thought we'd be better. I thought we'd improve. We're not. And I'm irritated about it. But I make a prediction on Thursday of last week that sounded outrageous. You're going to tell me I'm wrong. I also want to be told when I'm right.
Do we know that
Dollar Dame, which you guys put up my Dollar Dame
got
stuff.
Dollar
it's even
Dame.
gift.
Yep.
So, okay. I predict that the Detroit Lions are going to beat the Raiders and that their coach and GM were going to be fired the next day. And it happens, and we're 2 hours and 37 minutes into the show, and nobody brings it up?
The Packers traded Rasul Douglas. They're openly tanking for the first time ever. Sorry, we're not spending any time on the Oakland Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders firing their coach.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know if this is accurate, but I want it to be, so I am going to do something you and Wilde love doing. I don't, but this story is so good, I'm going to read on the radio about how Josh McDaniels was fired. And again, this is from some dude on Twitter. Take it for what it's worth.
Do you know who is it a reputable reporter or is it Joe Schmo who could easily be?
I sent it to you. How about this?
Yeah.
I'll read it. I sent you all the info. You fact check.
Sure.
And you can tell me if this is nuts, but McDaniels goes into the office on Halloween dressed as Mark Davis after losing to the Lions. So they get beat by the Lions. They stink. They fly home. McDaniels comes in dressed as Mark Davis. And it seemed as if Davis thought that was funny. He even went and got this P.F. Chang's lunch that I guess he eats all the time to give it to Josh McDaniels. And the way that Mark Davis fires Josh McDaniels, again, according to Twitter. He gave him a fortune cookie with a written note in the fortune cookie that says, "You're fired, hotshot," and I quote. That's how Mark Davis fires Josh McDaniels, if you believe Twitter. And if that is the firing, I can only think of other firings where they fired Lane Kiffin on the tarmac of the airport out at USC. This would go down as the worst and most penal firing of all time if this story is true.
I can't believe that would be true. I love the story, and I hope it's true, but I don't see any way that story is actually true. Who would go through the trouble of ordering a custom fortune cookie? Like, that's diabolical to fire a coach. There's no way. You couldn't script that in a movie. There's no way.
He's got a big staff. Mark Davis has a big staff, and I'm sure he could, if he wanted to pull this off, I bet he could, and I hope he did, because it would be really funny if he did. But
would be
the Raiders are a hot mess, and that's another reason you knew that they're a hot mess. Denver, give Denver credit. They beat the Chiefs. That's what's been so disheartening about this start of this season for Green Bay. You've played really bad teams, and you're worse than they are. So
it's crazy.
There you go.
All right, Tausch, some of the Brian Gutekunst audio is beginning to roll through here as Goody is meeting with the media. Would you like to hear the opening statement from the Packers GM?
Certainly.
We have it on board here, so here we go. I have not heard this yet. Hopefully there's no swears involved. Here is the opening statement this morning. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst meeting with the media moments ago.
Real quick as we get started, I just want to take a little time to talk about Rasul. Just thank him for his time here, all the the work and the leadership that he provided us. Obviously, that was a nice practice squad signing in the middle of the season. I don't think you see those too many often, so very appreciative of him. Also, I just want to talk about Rashawn Gary and the extension. Obviously, very core member of our football team, and I'm very excited to lock him up for a long time. So he means a lot to our football team, and we're excited to have him. Season hasn't gone like we wanted it to. There's been some frustration, but I think we're very focused on the process, how we get through it, and continue to get better. So with that, I'll take your questions.
All right, there's the opening statement, Tausch. Got Rashawn Gary in there. I had to make sure we got Rashawn Gary in there. Spread some positivity.
He also wanted to make sure his credentials of picking up a practice squad player that ended up being as good as Rasul Douglas was also illustrated. So, listen, when you lose, you feel and hear everything. Brian Gutekunst is no different. I'm sure he wants to defend his record. That's what he did in that opening statement by kind of letting you know that it was a tough call, but it was a great signing and a net from where they got him to what they ended up getting. And then obviously highlighting Rashawn Gary. I don't think that's going to be a big part of the press conference the rest of the way, though.
I would agree. I just received Wilde and Goody back and forth at the podium. You want to hear it right now? Should we tease it? What do you want to do? Old T, your call.
It and let's come back. Tease it up and we'll come back to it.
All right. I got 2 minutes and 22 seconds of Jason and Goody at the podium in Green Bay. So we will hear that. Coming up next, we'll see if Jason's able to join us before the end of the show. Brian Gutekunst meeting with the media right now at Lambeau Field. We will hear what Jason asked him next on Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994. Find the Great Dane nearest you at greatdanepub.com. The UW men's basketball team unofficially tips off their season tonight in an exhibition game at the Kohl Center against UW Stevens Point. Head coach Greg Gard and his expectations.
It's good for the state. I think it puts basketball in a spotlight at various levels for that night, and we're looking forward just to see how we respond and how we play together.
Tip-off between the Pointers and the Badgers set for 7 p.m. tonight at the Kohl Center. The Badgers officially get their season underway Monday as they host Arkansas State.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round. No interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Visit PellaWI.com.
ESPN Madison is on Wisconsin Sports. Catch up on anything you missed on the Varsity Podcast on Wisconsin On Demand. Brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of Wisconsin Badger Athletics. If you're looking to purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Honda, shop local, part of the Madison community since 1973.
At Gruber Law Offices, we've helped tens of thousands of families after a serious accident. Our priority has always been our clients. We're here for you whenever you may need us. One call, that's all.
If you want a fresh twist on surf and turf, look no further than North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Inspired by their time living in the Alaskan Gulf in southern Texas, owners Keith and Aaron brought together unique culinary backgrounds to create a truly authentic American restaurant here in Madison. After expanding to 2 more locations in DeForest and Verona, you can savor smoky, wood-fired barbecue and freshly prepared seafood from around the country. Explore their full menu and dining options at eatnorthandsouth.com. That's eatnorthandsouth.com.
Big trailers and big opportunity. Since 1962, Stoughton Trailers has been a family-owned and operated business. With competitive wages and excellent benefits, plus growth and advancement opportunities, Stoughton Trailers is an exciting place to grow your career. Join the collaboration, innovation, and dynamic team atmosphere at Stoughton Trailers, with positions now open in production, operations, finance, sales, engineering, supply chain, and more. Go to stojobs.com to apply today. Stoughton Trailers, big opportunity.
With over 25 years of experience, TLC Laser Eye Centers is a leader in LASIK. TLC has performed over 2.3 million LASIK procedures nationwide, including treatment for over 10,000 doctors and professional football player Kirk Cousins.
TLC Laser Eye Centers is a brand that's proven and can be trusted. This was not a procedure I wanted to cut corners on. I wanted to get the best quality and the best doctors and make sure that it was done to the highest level. And I felt that TLC was the brand that would do that, and so it made the decision easy for me and for my wife.
Come see why TLC is the doctor's choice for LASIK and the choice for Kirk Cousins. Right now, TLC Laser Eye Centers is offering $1,000 off LASIK when treated in November. That's $500 off per eye plus guaranteed financing. Visit tlcoffer.com today to schedule your free consultation. Must mention this promotion and be treated in November of 2023 to qualify. $1,000 off for both eyes on standard wavelength price. $500 off for one eye. Cannot be combined with any other offers. See details at tlcoffer.com.
Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. Win game day gear by entering to win at titostailgate.com. Enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill or a Brewmate. For official rules, visit titostailgate.com. Must be 21 plus to enter.
Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over. So many things that I wanna say. You know I like my girls a little bit older. I just wanna use your love tonight. I don't wanna lose your love tonight.
Wilde and Tausch back with you, Jesse and Tausch, while Jason Wilde attends Brian Gutekunst's press conference, ongoing right now at Lambeau Field. Tausch, our team has not been able to track down the audio of you predicting that Josh McDaniels would be fired immediately following the loss to the Lions on Monday Night Football, but our team is on the press conference going on right now.
All right.
Is that okay, prioritization there, or would you rather be
Yeah,
validated?
complete prioritization, but I would like it for tomorrow's show. Or you could post it on our social channels anytime today.
We will see what we can do. I'll have our best people on it. In the meantime, here is 2 minutes.
I'm sure you will.
I'll get Derek Blakesley to listen through all afternoon. Here is 2 minutes and 22 seconds of Jason Wilde asking Packers GM Brian Gutekunst. We had talked about what's Jason going to ask. What's he going to ask him about? Well, here he is, plus a little follow-up. We like the follow-up from Jason. Here we go. Wilde and Goody at the podium moments ago.
Balance that. You can say we're focused on beating the Rams, but your chances of beating the Rams didn't get better by trading Rasul yesterday, right? Like with what you've got at corner right now. So how do you balance it? I know you don't like the word rebuild and that kind of thing, but if this is in the best interest of the team, it's because you're getting to move into the third. I mean, you didn't get a third round pick for him, right? Like you gave up a fifth round pick as part of it, which could be toward the top of the fifth round potentially. So how do you balance we want to beat the Rams on Sunday with what you're trying to do long term?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it all, right? You look where your team's at, and I think for us right now, I think we have some young players at that position we really like, and we want to see play. We need to see play, right? And again, to me, it's about we got to play better as units, offense, defense, and special team. Play complementary football. We haven't done that, and I think this is again. I know whenever you take any player away from your football team, it's tough to get better, right? But at the same time, I think my job is to kind of keep an eye on right now, but also an eye on the future. And again, getting a pick in the top 100 was something that I just didn't think we could pass up at this time.
That was kind of what you said too when we talked about Mercedes and not bringing him back, right? So the other part I'm curious about is, I saw Rasul on Monday in the corner of the locker room with Wicks and Valentine, and he was clearly talking to them, kind of trying to build them up and say, hey, we got to get our act together, right? He walked off the field with Jordan, trying to kind of pump him up too. I'm wondering, do you have to consider when you're weighing this trade what the message is to the locker room for the guys that are in there now, sure. and what do you think that message is, or how that gets received?
Yeah, no, you consider all those things. I think you consider all those things, and quite frankly, at the beginning, that's why I said no. I'm like, yeah, not, for what was being offered, it didn't make any sense. But once it got to a certain point, there's some offers you can't refuse, and this is one of those. You know what I mean, for the player. And again, we wish him well, but I also think right now that there's opportunity. And I have a lot of expectations for players to step into leadership roles that need to step into leadership roles. I think they've done that. We've certainly seen some evidence of that, and I think that needs to continue to grow. And I'm hopeful and excited that it will.
Packers GM Brian Gutekunst, Jason Wilde asking the questions moments ago at Lambeau Field. He's still down there in the press conference as it continues. Tausch, what do you think?
It's exactly what I anticipated, Brian Gutekunst, how he would answer. And I thought, Jason, some really good questions about what it tells you in the locker room. And basically what he's saying is what we're doing isn't working, and we need to give young players the shot to grow into leadership as well.
I mean, is he saying he'd rather see Valentine out there the rest of the year than Rasul Douglas? Is that what he's saying by saying, I don't understand that exactly. Do you really think that what you have in-house is going to be your starting corner for the next 6 years? If so, sure, then I guess that makes sense. But I don't feel like you feel great about any of the other options at corner right now, and that's why it would be nice to have Rasul around so you're not down 14-0 at the start of every game.
Yeah, no, I think he's looking at it, and he said it. Nobody's playing to the level that they anticipate or want, and you want to see what you have with Valentine and Ballantyne. That's what you're looking for. And I think Jason trying to illustrate to him that, Rasul's somebody that guys are looking up to and trying to build. And I think Brian Gutekunst saying, yeah, that's great, but we need other players to emerge, and we need our young players to grow and get better. And right now that's not happening. So if it wasn't the right price, Rasul would still be here and he could continue on that process. But it was too good of an opportunity to not have a top 100 pick. And that's better than having Rasul Douglas, and it's more important to have that pick than to have Rasul Douglas and his leadership. That became abundantly clear. And whether or not that's the right decision or not, I don't know. But that's where they're at, and that's what they're trying to figure out. And right now, when you're searching for things, you try and give yourself as many opportunities to improve your football team in a different way than what you're having. And even though Rasul Douglas has played well and he's done some things, it ain't working, it ain't good enough, and we're going to move forward with younger, different players. he's not part of it now that we got this pick. The new pick hopefully will become someone good, and hopefully it will have to be a supplemental piece because one of these young guys are going to get that many more opportunities to prove that they're NFL players. That's what I thought he would say, and it's exactly what he did say.
I'm guessing that Jason will not be back before the end of the show, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about this and hear more of what Goody had to say throughout the show tomorrow from 9 to noon here on ESPN Wisconsin. I did hear yesterday Brad Nortman on Kyle Bruston Nortman, weekdays in the afternoon on ESPN Wisconsin, talking about second and third round picks and how those, if you really break it down for the value you get for the pick, they are the most valuable draft picks. Second and third round guys that are playing on their rookie contracts because you don't have to pay them the rookie deal a first round pick makes, but a lot of them are still very talented like some of the first round picks are. So I see deals yesterday like Chase Young, former top 5 pick, traded to the San Francisco 49ers by the Washington Commanders for a third round pick next year. And I thought that can't nearly be enough for a guy like Chase Young that, when healthy, is a really, really good pass rusher. But now as you think that way, if you think value for the pick, Goody says their top 100 pick, do you think that's ultimately what put him over the moon to send Rasul Douglas to Buffalo, saying, well, at least we get a shot at a top 100 guy and we're building for the next 3-4 years down the road? Like, I never thought of it that way until I heard Brad really outline it in that financial way yesterday.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could look at it, and obviously second, third-round picks should have a higher upside, but if you really want to look at what's the best value for Brian Gutekunst and the Green Bay Packers, it's hitting big on a sixth-round pick and getting 4 years at even smaller salaries than what you get in the second, third. But at that point, that usually third-round picks, sixth-round picks, the numbers aren't astronomically higher, but I would always prefer hitting on my first-round pick because I then have that player for 5 years. And that, to me, is the most if you're trying to control costs. You're not going to get a first-round pick for Rasul Douglas, but I think the fact that you were able to get into that top 100, and if you feel like there's 100, you already have a good idea of how many prospects are going to fall into what grade. That's what Brian Gutekunst is saying. But, again, the conversation moves. You go from what the rest of this season is going to look like to, well, we're going to get this draft pick. I don't want to be talking about draft picks, man. Nobody does. Fans don't care about that. You care about that in February and March.
Not anymore.
What happens when you lose and you stink is when you're talking about draft picks at Halloween. And when you're doing mock drafts now, that means your season's in big-time trouble. And unfortunately, we've been pretty limited with this opinion in the past, but our season's in big trouble as far as what's happening, and Goody pretty much just illustrated that. When you're that excited about a top 100 pick being the big focal point, that's where we're at.
Plenty more reactions tomorrow when we're back at 9 a.m., including Josh Myers is playing the best football since he's been here. He's playing very, very well. Might have to call Bulaga back again tomorrow morning as we review more of what Goody had to say. Jason will be back in following his attendance at the press conference tomorrow. Can't wait to talk more about it. That'll do it for today's edition of Wilde and Tausch. Thanks to Brian Bulaga and to Homer for joining us. Tausch, have a good one. Can't wait to talk more Goody tomorrow. Thanks for coming along for the ride, everybody. Have a great day. As Jason says, take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch? Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.
Grassland Dairy is built by tradition right here in Wisconsin.